Hey, yo, what's good, what's good, what's good? Welcome to Reflections of a DJ, the R.O.A.D podcast. This is our Miami edition, presented by DJ City. I'm one of your hosts, DJ Crooked. We got DJ Never.
Yo, what up?
We got DJ D Miles.
What's good?
We got Jamie the Great.
Yeah.
And, we got one of my favorite DJs of all time.
Stop lying.
Nah. We got one of my... Seriously, man. When I think of, like, dope Miami DJs, Mauricio, you're honestly at the top of my list, man. And he's a major staple in the fixture here in Miami for
Legendary,
the radio.
man.
Yeah, for the radio, nightclubs. Mm-hmm. We got, Mr. Mauricio in the building. What's good?
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for having
Thanks for
me.
coming through, man. We had to reschedule, but everything's all good. We got you over
We
here.
make it happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
What do you call it? So you've been in the game for a long time. I'm a scam artist before I became a scam artist.
Right.
I remember you being on Scam, and you even had like I'm probably the first and ever gold chain scam artist, gold chain. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to hear your story, man, because I've been so, you came up with AM. You've been a major part of Miami nightlife and the radio. And
You want the whole story?
I want the whole story.
Started on a dark night, just like no.
Yeah. Well, you started DJing at 9, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're born and raised in Miami?
Born and raised 305 till I die.
Yeah.
So there's no more Dade County than me and Laz. Pitt, Trick. There's like staples, and DJ wise, I feel like for me it's like Laz, Mr. Mix, who was a Two Life Crew's DJ. Mm-hmm. Myself and Irie, Epps, Khaled. There's like literally like 10 until now, and then there's like the next generation. But for me, I started really young at 9. I honestly saw a DJ at a communion or something like that, and it was like can you curse on this?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Because
Sure.
I have the dad voice, and then the and it was like the corny ass, with the police lights on the speakers and stuff like that, playing Shout. And I saw it, and I was like, oh, I want to do this. And my dad was like, you're tripping, there's no money in there. But he helped me get some stuff, and I had the generic Gemini belt drive turntables, the pyramid mixer. Mm-hmm. And I did that in my house, like every other DJ, coming up in the garage, in my bedroom. And 15, you try to re-up and get better and upgrade your stuff. And that's when my parents were telling me, I ain't giving you no more money for this, because it gets expensive even back then. $1,200s.
$500 at that time was a lot, man.
My G.
Yeah.
It was like more than $500.
$500. My dad would give me like $10 for sneakers. That. It was unattainable. So I'd be going to the pawn shops are big down here in Miami, and get crappy Lanier Tech 1700s or like wannabe 1200s, and that kind of stuff. And I did house parties, skating rinks, all that kind of stuff.
So coming up, when you wanted to start DJing, who were you influenced here in Miami by?
So Miami, again, if you're around my age, which I don't want to give my age, but I'm looking good.
None of us do.
None of us want to do that shit.
I started counting backwards a few years ago, but yeah, if you grew up in Miami, man, the staples here are, I'll give you the 3, and it's Laz Mendez, Felix Sama, and Mr. Mix. Those are like the 3 guys in Miami who, like mid 80s to mid 90s, did everything that was significant in Miami. They the first ones to do mix shows on radio, on 99 Jams and on Power 96. Power 96 was, or it still is, like the rhythmic station down here. They were super mix show heavy, and Laz was their mixer, and so was Felix Sama. On top of that, Mr. Mix was Two Life Crew's DJ, and then Laz and Felix Sama did all these remixes and edits for every Two Life Crew record. So they put themselves on, but they just caught the wave before there was a wave in Miami to DJ. So when I was like 10, 11, you would go and watch them play. You would go to the skating rink. You would go to like the car dealership that now it's kind of corny to see like radio remotes, but they'd be doing like playing there, and I'd be like just staring at them because there was no one bigger. When you're young, that person is bigger than anyone else, and there's not technology like there is now. So I don't know what's going on in New York or in LA.
Yeah.
So that guy is like God to me. So Laz, hands down, taught people how to scratch to booty music, which is, if you listen to booty music, if you can cut at a BPM of booty music, you can pretty much cut anything in hip hop because it's really fast. Yeah. It's like double time speed. So I learned to cut like that, and then when the hip hop finally started coming down here in the mid '90s, I was like, man, this cutting's easy, man. I can do triples and quadruples and all this on a slower beat.
Yeah, because it was all 9,500 BPM and shit.
Yeah, I mean, and the hip hop didn't come down here till like '94. We were listening to freaking.
Really?
Yeah, man. It was all dance music. We were listening to, first of all, Stevie B. Shout out Stevie B because he's from down here, and Johnny O. And
like freestyle music,
all freestyle dance music. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you would listen to Power 96. It was all freestyle, no hip hop, and you would hear mixing over that. And again, Laz would cut over that, and then you would go from freestyle into booty, back into freestyle into booty. That's all we listened to.
Oh wow!
And so, we got hints of hip hop like in the early '90s with Dre and Snoop and stuff like that. But not until like '94 when like Ready to Die popped down here, then we were all open to it.
Yeah. Yeah, like Nas, Wu-Tang and all that, right? Yeah.
And my family, my parents grew up in Queens and Jackson Heights. That's why I'm Colombian. They're from Jackson Heights. And so I would go up there all the time. So I would get doses of Tribe Called Quest. I'd come back here.
Right.
I'm like, yo, listen to this. They'd be like, that shit is terrible. I'm like, no, this is amazing. And then I'd wash it out of my head, and I'm like, oh, I got to listen to more, Johnny O or whatever was playing. And but up there they would play the same thing. They'd play hip hop, but the freestyle was big. But again, R.O.A.D, Mendez, Felix Sama, Mr. Mix are probably the most influential for me.
When you went to New York or visited family in Queens, did you like get to hear like Kid Capri, Clark Kent, and everyone like that?
Right. So I would go in the summers up there or for holidays, and I would listen to Red Alert, Clark Kent, Kid Capri, man. It's crazy. Like, I would listen to them play, and it would just be like, it's like another planet you're listening to, down here.
And probably so different on the radio compared to Miami, right?
We don't program music like that. We like sonically our ears don't even know what we're hearing, like, because we would never hear that kind of music.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And it took a while, a lot of New Yorkers transplanted down here to Orlando and Miami, and then it just started becoming big. And it got commercial once the mid '90s came here. But again, I got lucky that I was going to New York a lot, so I already had Tribe, Leaders of the New School, Gangstar, all like in my head embedded. Even though I was like in the closet telling people, man, yeah, that shit's not really good in my head. I would be loving that shit because no one wanted to hear it. I'd be like, yo. Yeah, that shit ain't good. But in my house, I'd be listening to it all day.
Wow.
And I would hear the cuts, and I'm like, oh, man, let me practice. And again, to me, I would cut like booty records. If you listen to any booty records, and there's always a breakdown with the cutting, it's super fast.
Yeah.
And you got to be good with both hands. It's not like a basic slow cut. So I was like, usual like 90s golden era hip-hop, it's like 90, 95, 98. So I can do that with my eyes closed. So I'd be cutting, and people are like, "Holy shit!" And I'm like, "Man, this is easy."
Yeah.
So.
And were you able to get like mixtapes and shit from New York? Like,
I would. Well, that's what I'm saying. I would bring them down here all the time. That shit got no play in none of my friends' car. I would have to hear them at home or in my parents' car because they didn't want to hear none of that music, and I'd have mixtapes on mixtapes on mixtapes on mixtapes.
Like, was it like the whole Stretch Armstrong and Stretch and Bobbito?
Stretch and Bobbito were big, man.
Yeah. Did you know about that, or
Yeah, I mean, my friends would put me on, like my cousins up there would put me on to stuff like that, and like even like Tony Touch. I would listen to early Tony Touch stuff, and I'd be like, damn, like, because again, Laz would be like booty, but I was like, yo, here's this Latin DJ from New York. Incredible what he's playing. I want to play that kind of music instead of playing what everyone's playing here. So it's crazy, man. To me, it's crazy because when I was a kid, I looked up to all these guys, and you look forward like 5 years after that, and I'm playing with them. because of, you know, Bill Spector, and, you know, we'll get into all that later.
For sure. Well, you started early, man, because you was like doing the nightclub at 17. You did
Correct.
Liquid.
Well, I mean, this is my thing. When I talk to younger kids, I feel like talent only goes to this far, because I know a million DJs with a shitload of talent, and you got to have, I don't want to say luck, opportunity, luck, a chance or something. Most people get it and they don't see it, and then it just passes by.
Yeah.
I got lucky, you know, but I feel I can't just say lucky, because if I was terrible, then the luck wouldn't have helped. You know,
It's a combination of both.
Right. You got to have some kind of talent, you know, because there's people that get lucky and are terrible DJs, and that's it. They end up. But again, there's a bunch of great DJs in every city that you go in a hole in the wall and you're like, damn, this motherfucker's ill. Why is he still playing here?
Yeah.
And I let me try to get on the radio. Let me try on the club. And club's like, fuck that. We don't know him. The radio's like, we don't know who he is. And you're like, man, you know, why is this guy here? He's terrible. And I'm telling you, this guy's better than me. And he's not getting a shot. But again, so I dropped out. I'll give you everything. I dropped out of high school. My parents hated me. I told them I was going to play basketball, and I dropped out. I had a scholarship to junior college, and it was like basketball DJ. And at some point, you're like, fuck, they're way better than me. You know what I'm saying? your parents and your friends till a certain age can tell you're good. At some point, you realize, I thought I was good, and then you go like to camp or something. You're like, fuck, they're way better than me. So I was like, I'm gonna DJ. My parents hated it. You know, like, you guys know, no parent's gonna tell you, you're gonna, especially back in the day,
because it's unheard of. There was
no DJ culture back in the day. So you're saying you're gonna DJ. My mom thinks I'm gonna do weddings and bar mitzvahs and communions, and she's like, that's what you want to do with your life, you know? And I have Latin parents. You know, they want me to go to college and you know, date a girl that's successful and have kids that are more successful. That kind of bullshit. But
the immigrant dream.
Yeah, the immigrant dream. It's everyone's dream, you know what I'm saying? Every immigrant family, they tell you they move here with no money. I sacrifice everything.
I couldn't speak English.
And you want to DJ. You know what I'm saying? That's what you want to do with your fucking life. But yeah, so I dropped out, dude. I moved to Miami Beach, and I was literally for 2 years sleeping on the floor at my friends' places every other night. But I refused to go back home with my tail between my legs. I felt I wasn't going to give my parents the benefit of writing me forever on that.
Right.
So I would fly, or I would do everything but DJ, because no one knew I DJ'd. And I just kind of, in my head, I kind of gave up on it. My shit was still at my parents' house. I couldn't bring it anywhere. I didn't have money for storage. So I was flying for this promotion company, and they used to do this party called NFA. It was like a big hip-hop party in the 90s here in Miami Beach. And they used to do a night at Liquid. And so I would flyer. And then the main guy from the promoter, told the owner, or Chris Pacello's younger brother, Keith Pacello, Mauricio needs another job. So I would do the register there. Then I ran tables. I did the door there. I'd do anything but DJ.
And again, you was like 17 years old doing.
I was like 17. I can show you pictures, man. I'm like fucking.
I want to see these pictures.
Oh my God, I don't want to see pictures, bro. It was crazy.
I've seen a few pictures of Mauricio on his Instagram. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I was like a little kid working at the door of like that.
That's crazy though.
At that time, if you don't know Liquid and you look it up, it was the biggest club in the country.
You were like Henry from Goodfellas, yo. You were
just like, so that was me, man. But I'd be working in the biggest club owned by Madonna and by Chris Pacello and Ingrid Caceres, which were like probably the biggest promoters.
Can you guys talk a little bit about Chris Pacello, because his name keeps coming up?
What do you want to know?
I mean, I just don't. I think you guys don't.
Yeah, I know. I know
the questions all the time.
I think Mauricio has more.
I did the research, and I get why people don't talk about him.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you just. People ask me all the time, and I just kind of give them the general answer.
Yeah.
People, ask what he did, what he go to prison for. He did it. When we were young, we all do fucked up shit. You know what I'm saying? And we're a product of. When I was young, I did fucked up shit in my neighborhood with my boys. And luckily, I tell people, the DJing, I dropped out of school, but the DJ got me away from my boy. I got two of my friends doing like 40-year bids right now for drugs. Most of the shit in Miami is always for drugs, because here you can carry guns. It's never really a gun thing here.
It's the South, yeah.
It's the South. It's a Bible Belt, but we love guns down here. And guns, you can carry as many as you want on you, in your car, in your house. So whatever. So Chris is, Chris did his shit in New York, moved down here, getting away from it, and he had a bunch of venues that he had here.
Yeah.
And then Liquid popped up. He kind of joined with Ingrid, and Ingrid Caceres was a big promoter back in the 90s. Mm-hmm. She was best friends or girlfriends with Madonna, some shit like that.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah. They were like,
he ended up dating Madonna, right? Chris Picello?
I don't know dating,
I
but
don't know about dating, but I think I heard rumors there.
Let me tell you.
They was talking.
I'm going to tell you something about Chris, man. Shout out my dog, Chris. He definitely put me on. I know there's a bunch of people here in Miami that'll tell you I gave Mauricio the first job. He literally gave me, it was his club, and I worked for a bunch of people, Bill Spector, Conrad, big promoters in the game. But it was the first club was at Liquid. So I'll tell you what happened. So I was working the door or running tables, whatever it was. And the big DJ at that time in Miami Beach was this guy named Radimus. Mm-hmm. And Radimus, to me, again, was like a god at that point. He had ran the beach. When I tell you he worked every night, and it was the biggest clubs. And he had a deal with Puffy at the time, doing, I don't know what. He had a deal with Bad Boy. He was amazing. He was another transplant from New York, and he just played like I used to hear New York DJs. It's very party rock, like on the mic, nice cutting transitions. And down here, we never did that. Down here was like super basic, and there was no hip hop at that time. Mm-hmm. So he was in the small room. It was always EDM. Anyway, so one day he got sick. He got the flu, and he was gone for a week. And he used to do, I'll name you the clubs he did, and if you're over 30, you know what they are. If you're under, then look them up. He used to do KGB and Chaos and Groove Jet, Liquid, Barroom, every big club. And he got sick. So I used to work the door at Liquid, and I used to promote for Bill Spector, and these guys used to do all these big other clubs. But Radimus was a guy who did if you were doing a hip-hop party, he was the guy. So he got sick, and the club didn't know until like 9 p.m. he wasn't coming in. At that point, the general manager of the club knew that I DJ'd, but at home, and he heard me fucking around on the turntables upstairs, and he's like, we don't have a DJ. What are we going to do? They went and called Chris, and they're like, yo, Mauricio can DJ. So I was an ass. I was told, hey, you're playing tonight. I was like, yo, I don't have records. Just use Radimus's records. And I was like, fuck me, man. Because
he left him there, huh?
He left him there because he would play Friday and Saturday there. That was the only place to be Friday and Saturday night. So he was like the resident there.
How many crates did he have over there?
Bro, he had like 5, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the long ones. It wasn't even like the box ones. These were like the rectangle 10. Ones. Yeah.
So it was like 10 crates.
And you don't know where shit is, man. That's the thing. Like if you have records, you know where everything is without even like, I could tell you where, where every record was. Mm-hmm. I'm like 17 on a fucking Friday night, and the biggest club in the country at that point. Man, I was probably terrible, man. I'm glad there was like no recordings of it. But so I played probably terrible. I say this story all the time. And so that whole weekend, he was sick. And since I covered for him there, Bill Spector had me do Chaos and do Groove Jet and all this shit. And
that same weekend?
That whole weekend.
Wow.
And that shit changed my life because Monday came along. And I remember they're like, Chris Picello wants to have a meeting with you, with the managers or some shit like that. And I went in and they're like, hey, Fridays are your night now.
Wow.
Bro, when I tell you Radimus hated me, and this is someone I loved. I looked up to him in every way. All of a sudden he hated me like I took his job.
Yeah.
And since a young age, I've always been like, bro, I don't own the club. And if they would have fired you, am I not supposed to take the job?
Somebody else would have taken it.
Right, if I don't take someone else. So to this day, I always tell people when DJs tell me, hey, they want to hire me here, but I don't. Bro, if he's going to get mad at you, he's not your dog because you're not the one hiring, firing.
Right.
And if you don't do it, he'll take it or I'll take it if you don't want to do it. So I did it. And once I played there, I started playing there on Fridays and then opening up. This is fucked up. Radimus hates me at this point. I'm playing Fridays there, and then Bill Spector only used him on all his other nights, and he put me as his opener. So now I got to see him fucking 4 nights a week, and he fucking hates me, and he sees the transition of everything. And I'm like, every night, like, fuck, man. And me and him got close, but he saw it happening, and he's like, oh, this and that. But yeah, so I started working there. Then I did Barroom, which was Chris's other club. And then, once the 2000s came, that's when the Milan Brothers and Roman opened Opium. And, we call it the Roman Empire. That was here for like 10 years. And I opened that club and did every club, Opium, Privé, Mansion.
You were their go-to.
Go-to.
Yeah.
And I remember when they needed more hip-hop, I was like, yo, my dog Irie, that's my dog. That's my brother, man. I've known him forever. And
a completely different style from you.
Completely different.
He's completely different. He's more mic-based, a lot of drops.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so at some point, me and him were doing every part. But let me tell you, look how crazy this is. At the peak, Roman had an Opium Garden, me in one room, Irie in the other room, and Khaled in the other room.
Wow.
Damn, man.
Oh, fucking all-star team.
That's crazy,
That's like, to me, when you say that, like, it reminds me of like 90s basketball when it was like Jordan.
Right. It was like that 92 Dream Team,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And the thing is, there was nobody else. If I couldn't tell you, there's a bunch of other DJs. There was nobody else. So, and even like Khaled was doing more radio more than clubs, and he would do the clubs, but he would do like the reggae clubs. He would do Rockers Island, Shout Out Badafuko. He does like all the Jamaican parties, and that was more his thing than anything else. He got big doing the underground radio. My first radio station was the same as Khaled. We did Mix 96, which was, it's crazy. It's underground, but the antenna reached fucking far. We were always like, oh man, no one's going to hear this. But people would hear it because it would be, again, New York hip hop, which no one would really play like that, and reggae. Yeah. That's all you would hear 24 hours a day, and a bunch of like Jamaican restaurant commercials in between.
Can you break down actually kind of like in the Miami scene? We heard about Booty, but also like, you guys are basically a hub for like all the Caribbean islands pretty much, right?
Right.
And then so reggae is a big part of Miami as well.
Reggae, look, I came up in South Miami.
No one really talks about it a little bit, like,
Yeah, so like for me, I tell people always, when I was like when I was young and I would play a lot of reggae in my sets, people would be like, yo, how the fuck you're like, first they're the white boy, you're a white boy playing. And then I was like, yeah, I'm white, but I'm Spanish. I'm Spic, you know what I'm saying? How do you know all this shit? I'm like, dude, I grew up in South Miami. It's all Caribbean. It's all like Chinese, Jamaican, Bahamian. So again, that's all you listen to. I knew every rhythm that came out. I tried to get every dub play that would come out. I was more obsessed with like VP Records at its peak, which was a huge a record label for reggae and dancehall at the time, more than hip hop, because that's what down south you would listen to, probably even or more than hip hop would be dancehall at the time. And as a DJ, you play what you want to see girls dance to, and you see a girl dance to reggae or dancehall.
And at that time in the 90s, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that was like when I was at a hip hop party. That's when you got a chance to actually grind with a girl.
Right.
It was in reggae. Because no one was grinding to hip hop.
You don't grind 90s hip hop, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And it was like only, like now everyone twerks and grinds to everything. Yeah. But in the 90s, you only grinded to reggae. So everyone was like, yo, play some reggae so we get close to these girls.
You know what I mean? Got to play for the girls. If not, you don't play.
And you would get like a good 15-20 minutes of reggae set doing the hip hop.
But that was your chance to kind of get to the girl that you liked and then get close to her, and you would actually grind with her, and you'd be like, it would be okay.
So you guys only had 20 minutes to grind?
A little bit, because hip hop.
It was a hip hop
party. The reggae
party.
sets are small, so once you hear the first reggae record, you know there's going to be at least 3 more. So you make your way around, and you just kind of stand
Scout
behind
the
there.
net.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm
Because girls
spoiled.
were-
I'm
girls were-
spoiled as fuck.
Girl, I mean, nowadays a girl turns around and just starts twerking on you.
Yeah, no.
Y'all got it so easy.
Bro,
That didn't
yeah.
happen back in the
when
day.
I was going to school dances, 11, 12 years old, I was like, damn, this is like the devil's fucking dancing shit. But then I'm like, oh, this is how everybody dances.
Yeah.
But I grew up, everything was like,
You know what it is? I
Anyway.
tell people now, like with reggaeton, right? Here in Miami, it's mad Hispanic people, and the girls, like, that's when they, back that ass into you and shit like that. I'm always like, you put on Sheck, what, like, you can't dance with a girl to none of that music.
nah.
I like it. There's no interaction with girls to that.
Yeah.
You're jumping around. So all you have is reggae or reggaeton at this point. If you ain't listening to that, there's no dancing with girls.
Well, now we have like the Louisiana bounce, the twerk
Right.
music that they all.
But they're not
twerk.
twerking.
But you can't dance with a girl. You're just standing there.
Yeah.
And she's just,
Twerking.
She's doing her shit. She's doing her shit off.
You're just sitting there like grabbing her by the hair or by the
Or
waist.
the neck.
Holding her in place.
Yeah,
Make
you're
sure
holding
she
her
has the
in
right-
place.
Yeah, stay there. Don't
You know what I'm
move.
saying? Holding a drink while she's like twerking for like 2
Yeah.
minutes.
It's the weirdest experience now to me to just have like just girls just turn around and just start twerking. Like a lot of them can't even twerk, but it's just,
Oh, no, they try.
And
A
you
lot of them
just
can't
struggle.
dance, but they think that twerking is dancing. And
Yeah.
I think it's like a dialect of dancing, but it's not really dancing because you're just kind of bouncing around. But you play like dance hall, Spanish, merengue, salsa.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
need to know how to dance. You either know how to dance it or you don't.
Yeah.
And a girl that, like a female, knows how to dance correctly to a certain kind of music. Nothing better as a DJ for
Yeah,
me.
twerking is like a solo guitar, right? You're
Right.
just, like,
Yeah.
you're just watching
You
it.
can either be good or not be good.
Right. It's
It could be a fucking legendary movie or a train wreck. Either or.
3 minutes of that of
Yeah.
train wrecking.
So you guys were playing reggae on the radio. Was that like unheard of at that time, or
No, Power 96, even more than like 99 Jams is a super historic black urban station that's been around forever. So is Power. Power's been like dance. It was freestyle and dance and stuff like that. But Power broke more dancehall artists than anybody. Mr. Vegas, Sean Paul, like all those rhythms that were big. Wayne Wonder
Yeah.
was broken on rhythmic radio, especially down here, because it works. For Hispanic people, I feel we listen to everything. We know what island sounds sound like because we're probably from fucking island if you're from here.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Cuban, and so we vibe like Latin people down here. We fuck with whatever. We listen to hip hop because if you're from the hood, we fucking listening to hip hop. But your mom's fucking, that your mom's playing this. Your girl likes to listen to this, so you listen to everything here. But dancehall's always been such deep rooted in Miami music, like since back in the day.
Yeah. And then, so when did you start being on the radio? Because at 17, you were doing these clubs.
Right.
You did Liquid. You started getting into rotation with Bill Spector parties, and then you and Irene Khaled were doing major clubs. At what
Bro.
time was it just the nightclub, like your name started getting out in the nightclubs and the radio kind of recruited you?
Right. So my thing was backwards. There's a lot of radio DJs that just do radio and intern and get their chance on the radio.
Yeah.
And even like you said, even like Khaled went more to radio than the club heavy stuff down here. Me and Ari would do more of the clubs, but I was doing this was like early 2000s, like 2002. I was doing all the big clubs, and one of the PDs or program directors from it's iHeart now, but it used to be called Clear Channel.
Yeah.
He went in there with an artist, and he's like, "Yo, have you ever done radio?" I was like, "Nope." Did I want to? Nope. You know what I'm saying? I was like 20. I don't give. I told you it's like girls. And that's all I care about. The radio shit didn't really mean, because I didn't need it as an outlet. You know what I'm saying? I'm fucking playing at Liquid with Madonna, and I played at Glam Slam, which was owned by Prince, which was Level, and then Mansion.
Yeah.
So all these big clubs are owned by like huge people. So I'm around J-Lo at the time, and
Yeah, because the radio, people got on the radio to do what you were doing.
correct.
Yeah.
It was done backwards, and so they brought me to the radio, and everyone's like, "Yo, you should do it." Don't take it seriously. It's whatever. And I went in there, and my first radio show was on Y100.
Was live?
It was not live. It was
It wasn't.
pre-recorded, but thank God it was, because I probably was terrible at it too. But the thing is, they were testing the demo. They did a 30-minute mix. This guy used to be big on the air. He's a comedian now in LA called Michael Yo. He's on Sirius XM too. And he was
the Michael Yo show.
What was this thing? The half brother with the Korean mother. He was like half Korean, half black.
Oh, okay.
So that was he's like on VH1. He does like, I don't know, a bunch of bullshit. Shout out Michael Yo. But he got me on the show, and it was like a 30-minute thing, and they were like, do hip hop. I'm like, yo, this is Y100. They're like pop. They're more pop. They're like Z100 or
Top
Kiss.
40 type.
Yeah.
They're not even rhythmic. That they're like they're not playing Sean Paul. They're playing Jonas Brothers and
Katy Perry.
And I'm like, why are they playing hip hop? Why are they asking me to play hip hop? Peak hours, like at 5 to 5:30. I didn't know there. That's when like hip hop was starting to come full circle, like commercially in like the early 2000s. And they told me, oh, we're opening a new station, and it's gonna be 103.5 The Beat, and you're our guy there. You tell us when do you want to play. What time? I'm like, shit.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Because it never works that way. I mean, at that time I didn't know it didn't work that way, but now that I've done radio so long, it doesn't work that way. You got to wait forever. There's people like me that have been on radio 17 years, and there's probably like 100 kids saying, how long is fucking Mauricio going to be on the fucking radio? You know what I'm saying? Because they want to get that chance.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then I did that, and I got on the radio like in 02, 03, and I'm still on the radio. I mean, I just like the whole radio concept.
Yeah.
I have a question. We hear a lot about LA DJs that were on the radio and then started doing clubs, and then the radio kind of affected them being in the club because the club didn't want that urban, quote unquote, crowd to come. Did that affect you as well?
Right. So it's like a cancer, at least in Miami. I don't know how it is. I mean, I know New York because I've lived there now. At this point in my life, I've lived there a few years. It's like a cancer, a good club or quote unquote crooked nose. Like when you're a cool club,
Yeah.
you being on the radio is like the worst thing to them.
LA
they think it's like a fishnet. You're going to bring the shittiest people in there. They don't want to be associated unless it's like a hip hop event. And then, can you mention it and stuff like that? But so to me, it worked out for me because by the time I did the radio, I was doing the big clubs, so they didn't care. The owners didn't listen to the hip hop station, so it didn't really. But I would see for years a bunch of radio DJs that would never, to this day, gotten an opportunity to play at a half decent club because they're like, "Fuck that, he's on the radio."
Right.
And they would always ask me, "So how do you do it?" And I was like, "Because I did it backwards." By the time I did radio, I was already doing the big clubs, so it never really affected me that way. The clubs did always tell me never say you're at opium, when you're on the air. Don't mention our club, don't mention shit. So I kind of learned how to separate one from the other.
During those days when you was started on the radio, was you an on-air personality or you was just doing
Hell no, you hear my voice? Motherfuckers hate me. Like to this day, like people are like, you do radio? I'm like, yeah. My voice sounds like a penny with like in a tin can, So when I do radio now, I've done it so long, people recognize my voice, but
I was gonna say it's a pretty unique voice,
right?
But probably at the time they wanted the radio voice.
They want the super radio voice. So
like Laz has like the radio voice,
total radio voice, total radio voice.
And you did his. Was that kind of like an honor when you did his show, right?
I did Y100, and then I did the 103.5 The Beat, and then it took a dip, and they started changing to formats. And Laz asked me to come to Power. Mind you, I grew up listening. That was like the holy grail. If you lived in Miami, was at Power. And then to work with Laz, which was like fucking God at that point. It was a morning show. And 99% I would say no because we work at night.
Right.
So it would be fucking going straight from the club over there to do a 30-minute mix at 7 in the fucking morning. But it was Laz, and I said yes. And I almost died driving there a bunch of times in the morning. But it was...
Because it was after the club?
Bro, all the time. I passed out at the wheel so many times, man.
Oh, shit.
It was terrible. But to me, it was like a bucket list thing. And I work with Laz. Again, when I was a kid. And Laz is not like super old. Laz is, like maybe like 8-10 years older than me. But, there's a gap that he was way up here.
Yeah.
And I'm 16 and he's he was probably like 22, 23, but he was the guy.
Yeah.
And I'm a nobody, and he's like the god. And whoever tells you otherwise is bullshit. And, you know, because anyone who's from Miami will tell you that's just it is. There's no second place, third place. It was like Laz, Felix Sama, and that's it. DJing wise in Miami.
Yeah.
Was a lot of people like a lot of local DJs, radio and club, were they kind of hating on you? Because it seems like you kind of not got lucky, but you got opportunities that a lot of motherfuckers
Bro, let me
couldn't
tell
get,
you.
yeah?
I'll tell you. There's this guy Tom LaRock. Shout out Tom LaRock.
I know Tom.
That's my
Back in the
dog.
days, yeah.
That guy wanted to fucking beat me up for like a year, and now I see him and
Everybody hated Mauricio.
we walk our kids to school, which is the funny thing. I love Tom LaRock, man. He's also one of the like amazing DJs, man. His knowledge for music and reggae and hip. He's again,
Yeah, he was really good in reggae.
bro. He's a white boy from up like Long Island. I think he wasn't from the city, but
He used to come to DJ in the Hamptons like during the summertime.
yo, the guy, you sit there and his music knowledge is incredible. He can play anything, and his reggae and dancehall was impeccable. Look, to me, if you listen to like Riz and people like that,
Yeah.
they're so anal about sounding right that they don't want to sound wrong. Not for anyone else, but for themselves. So that's how I came up. Like listening to DJs, they're so hard on themselves that I watch kids now and they're like, fuck it, you know what I'm saying? I'll just drop it. I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man? That shit sounds crazy, but they don't care. To me, I'm like, I'll just let it, I'm not going to drop. I'm waiting for the right place to put it.
Right.
And Tom was like that too. Tom was, again, the Radimus days and Epps. Shout out DJ Epps. He used to be doing Fat Black Pussycat at Liquid too. So there was a bunch of DJs, yeah, and they saw a young ass kid come in all of a sudden. And back in the day, they probably all hated me. They told me to my face they don't now. But I remember I would get those phone calls. I'm going to punch you in the face next time I see you at my party.
Really?
Yo.
Wow.
So then I did the only thing I would, I didn't want to lose my job. So I would tell my older brother and my friends from my neighborhood who were fucking bad dudes, man.
Well, yeah, they're doing 4 years bids.
Yo, there was a long pause. Like, how do I describe these motherfuckers?
How do I say this without saying bad stuff about? They were just like bad that just don't give a fuck about anything.
The neighborhood goons.
Right. And so, my brother was always super protective, and he would be like, you have any problems? The beach is crazy, this and that. And I started telling him, yo, this guy's telling me this and that. Here, bro, when you have a problem with a bad dude, I'll tell you what happens. A real bad person from like down here in Miami will come, pick you up. No one will see you, chop you up, and throw you in the Everglades. That's what happens to people here. That's just, I'm going to tell you how it is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Let that be a warning.
Go look at Cocaine Cowboys, whatever. I'm not glamorizing shit, you know what I'm saying?
I thought he was going to say, like, pick you up, beat you up, and then drop you off somewhere. No, chop
beat you up.
up.
That beat you up that doesn't happen. Like here, man, you get into shit with the wrong person here.
I used to hear that shit a lot about Jamaicans, yo. Don't fuck with Jamaicans in Miami. Like,
Here, the Haitians are.
The Haitians
shout out to
too, yes.
The Zopound, like shout out to Zopound. We come, when we come from other countries, man, we're like poor, like dirt poor. You know what I'm saying? So we fend for ourselves from day one. And so when we come here and we get into shit with people that just mouth off, and again, I'm not a fucking tough guy and this and that, but I'm not going to stand down to anyone, you know what I'm saying? I just got raised by my dad and my friends. My brother would whoop my ass if I didn't fight back, you know what I'm saying? So, but to me, I knew when it was people that were just, that I couldn't deal with, I would tell them. And not that it happened to any DJ, but that was just what it was, like if you fuck up with the wrong person here, you would just kind of disappear. And we would know where you would probably end up. And it would be 30 miles west of here, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
where
at the Everglades.
Right. Them gators will get you and ain't no one seeing you ever again.
Yeah.
And that's happened, real talk, hundreds of thousands of times here.
I feel like a lot of motherfuckers have machetes out here, right? There's a ton of
Everyone has a machete here, man.
It's
You know
like
what
a
I'm saying?
normal.
You have a,
it's like,
you have
yo,
a gun in the house and the machete's outside by the door.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
like New York with a baseball bat. Like
Yeah,
everyone
you
had a
catch a bat
baseball
out
bat.
there.
Everyone has a machete in Miami.
It's like having a cell phone and shit.
The machete, everyone has, and everyone knows how to use it. Your mom uses it. You know what I'm saying? Someone gets in the house,
Dog.
you're catching the machete,
It's
man.
like I got my keys, got my wallet, and the machete.
What's the LA machete baseball bat? What is it?
I don't know.
Man,
Is it the tie iron? Is it the car tie iron?
man.
The crowbar?
I
No?
mean, probably
Probably the crowbar. Yeah.
crowbar or gun.
Y'all just did drive-bys and shit.
Yeah, they had guns, man.
Yeah. I mean, the guns here is crazy, man. Like, if you do like your homework on Miami, man, like the gun shit is just crazy here.
Yeah,
You know,
shit's nuts.
we had crazy years here, man. Like, even now, man, like it doesn't happen a lot, but when it happens, you see, and it's like crazy.
Yeah.
But before it was like the Wild West here, and again, it doesn't change because it's you know, we call the Gunshine State here for years. You know, you can get guns anywhere. There's gun shows every weekend. You can fucking get a gun anywhere within an hour. And if you don't have one, it's cool because all of us, you know, the rest of the people in the room have one. So I wouldn't carry one, but all my boys would have one because, you know, it's uncomfortable to DJ with one on you. I've tried. And if you look at my DJ bag, there's one in the DJ bag right there just because I was told when I was young, you live in Florida, it's your right. Why don't you, you know,
Exercise it.
exercise it? It's there,
Yeah.
you know. I don't know, man.
So don't try Mauricio because he's always packing.
Yeah, man. I'm not trying to fight, man, but if it's time to, you know, pop off,
Yeah, let's
you
get
know
him
what I'm saying?
popping.
Yeah, we'll
ready.
be popping. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna call Mauricio. Come like, protect you.
Bro, it's crazy.
when you Irie and Khaled were doing like the club together, like what did you guys like kind of come together at the end of the night, get something to eat and hang out and shit?
Hell no.
No. No?
No, man.
It wasn't one of those like
Kumbaya things. At the
No,
end of the
man.
night.
Look, we're a family. We put in work, each of us differently, man. If you see where Khaled is, and Irie and me, we all kind of different, but we come from the same thing. We're from Miami. We were brought up, you know, like drinking the same water. We're like rooted pretty much the same. Khaled came, you know, from Orlando via Louisiana, but you know, he's Miami no matter what. And you know, our musical taste is always similar. We all have deep-rooted like love for like Caribbean music, Haitian. We have all, like, I feel like if you're from Miami, you have Haitian in you, you have Hispanic in you, you have Cuban in you, you Colombian. You know, you have all the Latin aspects in you, but you definitely have Haitian. You have Jamaican. You have Trini in you.
Yeah.
So you play soca. And even if you're gonna play like dance music, you gotta play house, go right into soca, and they're like, "Damn, I can't believe you played that," because they don't know that shit works, and that shit it sounds right for us, you know. And again, we all play differently, but you can tell a Miami DJ when you hear them play, because we'll play a little more of this, a little more of that than they do in LA or New York and Chicago.
I've never gone to a room, and I don't think I've never gone to a room in Miami and heard a bad Miami DJ, like outlandishly bad. And then secondly, I've never heard bad music selection ever. Like they're always playing at least something I can vibe to.
Yeah.
It's very different. I could go to New York or any other city and be like, this is fucking horrible.
Yeah.
And then like these DJs are horrible.
Yeah, other places you hear like 3, 4, 5 bad songs, and then but here you right away.
Even if the mixing is not the greatest,
Yeah,
I
the
can live
song
with the selection. I can be
yeah.
like, yo, the selection's good, and they know.
That's
what to
one
play.
thing. You have to win me with something, man. Like, I get it, right? I'm not amazing on the mic, right? I'm not Kid Capri. I'm not Camilo. I'm not Laz. But I can handle my own. You know, I can say, put your hands in the air, whose birthdays, that kind of bullshit. But I know I can mix. I know my transitions. I know music. I would like to think I'm a great selector of music. And that's it. You know, you need to know your strong suit and then exploit that. You know, because we can't all be fucking Kid Capri, you know what I'm saying, and just be good at everything, you know what I'm saying, and we can't be Jazzy Jeff, and you know, again, and they'll turn around, like you said, like even AM, who's like the DJs DJ, who everyone talks about, you know, that's family, that's my dog. He would come to Miami and always do this bowing thing when he would see me. I'm like, my G, you're crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, we look at you like you're like the God who made it, and I'm trying to be like you. But he'd be like, nah, man, because he would see me play like Trick Daddy and Trina, Into Rock and shit like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, man, I can't play that shit in LA.
Yeah.
I can't play that shit in Vegas. They'll look at me fucking crazy. And we would, you know, AM for years came down here. Bill Spector brought him down here, and I met him in Vegas at, where was it?
You were in Vegas?
Yeah, man. My first time I met AM, I met Adam in LA at, what was the name of the place, man?
Babies?
Dragonfly?
No, man.
Las
Hard
Palmas?
Rock?
LA or Vegas?
In Vegas.
Vegas.
I have the flyer, man.
Light?
Light
Oh, wow.
at
Man.
Light
In the Bellagio.
in the Bellagio.
Wow.
And, you know, Fat Adam came in there, and I was like, no, man, I'm saying that's, you know, when I first met him, he wasn't.
There's Big Adam, there's Big AM, and there's a Skinny AM.
Skinny
No,
AM.
yeah. Usually everyone's just big AM.
Yeah.
Fat Adam.
No, well, yeah, I mean,
It sounds like Fat Albert.
yeah.
I always said Adam because I felt weird saying, hey, what's up, AM?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that
he would
sounds
always be
weird.
like Adam, and I was like, hey, what's up, Adam? But when I met him, I had never met him, and Bill told me, yo, this kid is the real deal from LA. And I walked into the club, and here's like, you know, Big Adam.
Yeah.
I'm like, this nigga right here is the DJ. You know what I'm saying? No way. You know what I'm saying? Here I am, like with chains. You know, like,
Yeah.
if you know me, I blew.
You look like a rapper, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I was the first one in Miami.
Kind of looks like Sean Paul.
Yeah, I get the comparisons a bunch of, but I was one of the very first DJs in Miami with the gaudy jewelry. I had the first pair of Johnny Dang Paul
You was
grills.
flossy. You was flossy.
Right, I
You
would
were like
take
the
all
Ben.
my
You were
money.
like Ben Balled Out, and you you had ring.
Ben
you
would
had
look at me and
bracelets,
be
yeah.
like, bruh,
Yeah.
where are you buying this? And but this is before the Diamond District. I'd go, there's this place in Miami called the Seabowl Building, which is just one fucking building, 50 floors of like jewelry. But yeah, so I met Adam in Vegas, and I was like, man, this guy cannot be the DJ. Because he would be just kind of like regular,
Yeah.
you know?
Like he just rolled out of bed and went to the
Bro,
venue.
yeah.
Collar shirt.
His hair, like, just out of bed. You know what I'm saying? It would be like a faded shirt, which was, at that time, you know, was probably like an amazing, like, tour shirt.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like, this nigga's wearing, like, a fucking faded-ass shirt. You know what I'm saying?
It's not even crispy. What's going
Yeah.
on?
And then what would kill me was he would always have, like, just, like, 2 bags of records. And I'd have, like, 10 boxes.
Right.
He goes, this is all I need. I'm like, this guy's going to be fucking terrible. He only has, like, 50 records here. And so I played that night with him. And, you know, it's the obvious reaction that everyone does the first time you would hear him would be like,
Holy shit.
holy shit, what am I doing with my life? Because it's not even anywhere near to what this guy's doing, like manipulating the music and the wordplay. I was just kind of like, I'm rocking a party.
Yeah.
Right? And then at the same time I met AM, I met Mark. I met Mark Ronson in New York. And fuck, I love Mark, man. And I would hear him do all these words play. But truth be told, man, those were fucking AM mixes, like transitions that I would hear Mark do.
Wow.
Right? And in New York, you wouldn't hear him because Mark wasn't going, AM wasn't going to New York at that
Right,
time.
right.
And to Miami. And then I'm like, no one knows this but me. Like, what the fuck? There's no way he's going from Quiet Storm, the 1-2, into the Nothing But a G thing 1-2.
Yeah.
That's like a classic.
That was big
AM
in New
thing.
York too.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Well, that's
that
what
was
it
an
is.
AM.
That was
Holy shit.
AM all the way.
Everybody in New York was doing that mix.
Bro, I'm
Because
telling
you heard
you.
it from Mark first.
Yeah, and where do you think Mark heard it from?
Wow.
Wow.
That's
Damn.
crazy.
B, I'm telling you. And so, look, to this day, there's little mixes that I do that are AM things that I know nobody knows but people that knew AM. I don't do it that much at all because, you know, the music's kind of not in what was big, but I would do the Slick Rick into the State Property Rock the Mic.
Yeah.
You know, the Lottie Dottie.
Yeah.
To rock the mic, right?
I've done that a few times.
And I would do it, and people would lose their mind. They're like, oh, you are the best. I'm like, man, I hope no one from LA is here. I'm going to fucking tell him, and he's going to fucking tell me something. And then one
Beat you
day,
up, too.
I didn't know that was an AM mix also.
oh my
originally.
God.
Damn, man.
And I would sit there, and I told him one day, man, the thing with Adam, every time he would come here, He was like a real DJ, man. He would be like, I need to know what's big in Miami.
Right.
He wouldn't be on that, fuck that, I'm going to just play what I can play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he's like, yo, I need this. So I would always be like getting 2 extra copies of everything for him. So all the slip and slide shit, I need 4 of these. And I'd be like, you need this Trick Daddy, you need this Trina, you need this Pit record, you need this, that. And
you credited him, you credited him as the first person to get you on Serato, right?
Yeah, man. He bought me a laptop, the first one, and I have his whole album. He dumped his whole album, like his whole library into shit. Because I was like, bro, I'm not doing that shit. That shit is never going to be big. I don't want to do it. And he was like, yo, this is the next big thing. No, it ain't. And he would come down to Miami like, once every couple months at the time. And then one time he's like, I'm not going to let you be that guy, being the last guy. He opened his bag and he had like a MacBook Pro.
Jeez, man.
Dude, that's love,
and he
man.
put all his stuff. Like even to this day, if I open my thing, I have all the AM drops, the Fat Man Scoop, AM, Fat Man Scoop, DJ, all his Oasis drum breaks of Wonderwall. Wow. And I hear it once in a while and I try to do it and I still can't do that fucking Wonderwall thing that he does, And if you don't know what I'm talking about, go and Google it because
YouTube
it's
that shit.
Yeah, YouTube it and it's amazing. But yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, I went through a bunch of bullshit. As DJs, I went through bad depression. And he was like, I tell people when I get into deep conversations that, like, I went through a bad divorce when I was in my early 20s. I blew my money gambling, which is why I don't go to Vegas a lot, because I had a terrible gambling problem. Terrible. I used to ask Sujit, cancel my shit. When and they offered me a residency there for a year. And it was a lot of fucking money.
Because you were such a big DJ, and you were like, in the beginning, you were so mysterious because I was like, Mauricio, who's this? And then I would see pictures or, I would see you and then you'd be like chained out. And I'd be like, holy shit, like, how does a DJ become this successful and have all of these gold chains? But I would never get to see you. Like,
I was the only dude, like, of my boys that wasn't like, slanging drugs or bricks with money. And they couldn't believe that these people were paying me money like that. Yeah. Me and Ira were crushing it at the time. And I'll tell you in a minute, like, we in that bubble burst.
But I would think you would have been in Vegas, and I didn't know at the time.
But so this is what happened. So when people ask me, like, the transitional thing was, look, so when I was doing Liquid and Barroom and all those clubs in like the late 90s into 2000s, Noah Teppenberg, who's like probably the biggest club person in the world now.
Noah and Jason Strauss.
Noah was at UM.
Strategic, yeah.
Noah was going to school at UM.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was already down here. So, he probably went to Liquid. And so, again, Richie Akiva, all the big club people that now own clubs would come to Miami. So when they would come to Miami, who would they listen to? Would be me at Opium, at Privé. Any night that I'd be working every fucking night. So, eventually all these guys open clubs. So when they open it, they're like, we need, South Beach here, because Miami Beach is such a nightclub thing. So they wanted me. So me and Irie were like, fuck, we're getting all this fucking offers everywhere. And then here's this was, AM at his peak over there. Right. They're throwing fucking contracts out. And again, it's not like nowadays, like house DJs, but it was like 6-figure fucking checks. Yeah. $500,000 for a year. And so Sujit, he's like, you need to do that shit. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was like, bro, I can't, man. Listen, my gambling was so bad that I would go, let's say, to do like and make maybe like $10,000, right? And I'd get there and they give me the okie doke, oh, your room's not ready. So I could walk around and I started gambling. By the time I would even go to, I'd be in the hole like $30,000. So I'd be leaving, giving them money. And I did that in Vegas, in Reno, Atlantic City, Punta Cana, fucking Connecticut, up at Mohegan Sun. So those would be the biggest checks, but I'd be gambling it before I even got it. And it'd be like that crackhead mentality, like, oh, it doesn't matter, I lost 20, I'm working next day 3 weeks, 3 times, 4 times next week, I'll be good.
Make it up.
Yeah, you're counting the money you haven't even worked for. Mm-hmm. So it was so bad. So I was turning away gigs that were, I shouldn't have, but I did. And
just because they were in casinos, right?
In casinos, man.
And did you ever win, bro?
I would win, but the only, you know,
it sounded like you just lost. I was like, damn, you were a bad gambler.
No, but you win. But the thing is with the casinos, the only people who really win are people who never gamble and then they win one time. If you play a lot, you're always, you know, the house always wins. You know what I'm saying?
He could have been. He probably was up $50K, and then he just kept playing.
It's like you eventually break even. You win, and then you lose, and then kind of even.
Probably like he probably lost.
Even when I lost, right? Let's say I'd lose 10 grand and I'd win back 8. I wouldn't be like, damn, I won 8 grand back. I'm like, I'm gonna keep playing and trying to win that extra $1,100. I lose another 20.
And then let's say he was up 20 grand. He's like, damn, I want to hit 50.
Right, you're never content. You become like a, you know,
you're just chasing that high.
You're addicted.
Right. Well, it's a drug. Like I went to a doctor who explained to me, like you release enzymes when you gamble. It's like when you do like heroin.
Yeah.
When the high is high, when you're winning, you feel like a high, and then when you're losing, you're like miserable and depressed and shit like that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I was super fucking depressed. I had a bad breakup with my wife. I got married young. Some fucking model. I went through that model phase for like 10, 12 years. And before that, it was great because I never fucked around with models, and now I'm doing all these, like, I'm like, these fucking girls like me. They never liked me a year ago, and now they're there. But yeah, I went through all this bullshit, and when I hit rock bottom, honestly, I didn't talk to my parents for shit like that. You know, I would tell my mom everything's good. I have money. Mind you, I have like nothing. But I'm working at the best clubs in the fucking country, and I'm knocking down like the best girls. If I tell you, I'm not gonna say names, but like famous girls, you know, I'm not.
Yeah, I can imagine. You're in like the fucking supermodel hub over here,
bro.
If you say it, we'll bleep it out.
I can bleep it out, bro. I got you.
We're not bleeping it out because I did that once and then I got in trouble, man.
I got your back.
Yeah,
I know. But I know what was going on. I saw that shit.
Yeah, and so I was at rock bottom, and the only one that helped me, not only one, but he was the only genuine person that could understand. Was AM, because he always had vices, you know, with alcohol and women, you know, and it takes a DJ to understand, you know, our lack of sleeping, our fucking, like, I'm deaf in one ear, I have like a ruptured eardrum in one ear, our diet's terrible, we have no kind of, like, we have nothing. We have the couple hours at night, and I tell people, like, when I've had like the greatest times of my life, I've probably been by myself in the club, right? I've met Michael Jordan, I met fucking Prince, and there was nobody there. And then when I've had like the lowest times, and New Year's by myself. How many years have you been New Year's like by myself? I call my mom an hour before or the next day, and here I am getting the bag, miserable as fuck. You know what I'm saying? I'm like literally crying inside. And, you know, I'm like, oh, I'll be fine. And after, you know, it takes a toll, and people never realize that. I got a long talk with Jermaine Dupri about that we like pound that pavement so hard, and people just look at the good shit, and they don't see how fucked up our shit is, man. Like, we live on planes, we're always in hotels, we have no real friends. Our real friends hang out with you, you know. The first year you're doing good. After a while, they're like, they got a girl, they got a kid, they got married. You know what I'm saying? And then all the people around you are just kind of people around you. So, but yeah, so I was fucked up, and he helped me out. He helped me go to rehab when I was depressed. And, you know, he didn't have to. No one else did. He was beyond busy at that point. It wasn't like, oh, it was a downtime for him. That was like at his peak. Called all the time, every day. He'd come by my house every time he'd come to Miami. And then, you know, and the same with me. I would go with him to his AA. When he would come to Miami, I'd go and sit there with him. And it was just like this unspoken shit I never told anyone about. Like, I would see him, you know, when every time he would come here, and then he'd go back to his hotel, and then I'd see him at the club. Oh, we're in the club, shit like that. But no one knows, you know, what transpired throughout the day and early. And it was like that for like 10 plus years.
Yeah.
You know, so when he passed, even when he had the plane crash, I'm like, fuck, man. And then, you know,
well, how did that affect you? Like, you know,
bro,
hearing that, man.
The two things that have fucked me the worst in my life, I flew into New York on 9/11 on a plane. That fucking morning, my plane was like on fucking, what do you call it when they're just circling around?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're like on that pattern, just fucking.
In
circling.
the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why aren't we landing?
On the morning
of 9/11.
Oh shit.
Me and Raul was flying in on another fucking plane. One of my best friends, and that fucked me up. I didn't fly for 2 years. I would drive to New York 4 times a month.
Drive to New York. How long was that?
I would
drive,
pay my boy 24 hours nonstop.
Shit.
We'd go with 3 people. You drive 12 hours. You drive 12 hours. I'd leave at 8 p.m. I'd get there 4 p.m. And if you had to piss or shit, it's when we put gas, get food, piss shit, because we're getting there. I did that for 2 years, man.
That sounds miserable, bro. It was a rough.
It was terrible, man. And I had like bad panic attacks. Even to this day, man, I feel like PTSD from that shit. And then after that, it was probably when AM passed, because I was with him the day before.
In New York?
In New York.
Wow.
And I was supposed to meet with him that day. And then I remember to this day, man, I started getting texts. And this was when I was living in New York. I moved to New York for a few years. You know, my phone started blowing up, and it was like on the news, and I didn't believe it. I was like, nah, bro, I just texted him like an hour ago. I just talked to him earlier. I was with him yesterday. And that shit had me fucked up for like a year. I couldn't go to his funeral. I couldn't talk to anyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think I never talked to anyone really about it. I talked to my therapist. That's why I've been in therapy for fucking like 10 years, man. And
did you rush to the site?
I didn't rush, man. I didn't, you know, they told me he had passed. What was I running there for? There's nothing there I want to see. You know, what am I going to... I remember I called his mom, but it was like super brief, and I just didn't want to deal with none of that shit. And the funeral they did, I just didn't want to deal with none of it. It was like too much for me to deal with.
It's like, yeah, you didn't want to. It's like you had to say goodbye almost, right? Like
I didn't get to say goodbye. I talked to him the day before, and it was just about regular bullshit, or the day of.
Yeah.
And
did he sound fine on the day of?
He was fine, man. I know he was doing that MTV show that he would follow around like people with addiction, and people would tell me, you know, I don't know if that's the best thing for him to be around that, because he would go to actual people that were doing drugs,
their houses and stuff like
correct.
that.
And so, you know, I was like, nah, man, homeboy almost died in a car crash. He's way too strong to be like that, and he never acted. I never got a red flag for me personally, and.
A lot of people said that they didn't. He was okay. Like,
yeah, I didn't. He never.
He wanted to work. Like,
right. He was working. He threw out a pitch at the Mets game.
Yeah, he went on tour with Jay-Z, right?
Yeah.
Right after that whole thing went down.
Like, he wanted to do that shit. It was like opportunities that he wanted to do.
Yeah.
He wanted to change. Like, he had a bunch of like moments that you know that changed his life, and so his thing was he wanted to make an impact,
right?
To change addicts, people that were depressed, DJs, you know.
It was important because he was even there for you. Like, it was obvious that he cared about that shit. You know what I
man,
mean?
like he was there when a lot, like most people that are my friends weren't there, and they were there, but not to the extent. I feel like, again, he knew my pain and my depression and my addictions and all that shit, because he had the same prior and probably at that point as well. And again, he didn't have to. He was fucking super famous at that point,
right?
Making millions of dollars. And why would he give a shit about me? I don't live in LA. He didn't see me all the time.
Yeah.
And he did. And so to me, you know what I'm saying? I know that when he passed, it was in the process of him trying to help everyone. He was trying to help DJs make more money, be healthier, overcome addiction, depression. That no one, look, he passed away. No one gives a fuck about us being depressed. Right. No one gives a fuck if we have health care. What do we do if we lose our money? Until then, it's been 10 years. No, you know, as DJs, we don't look. I don't want to say we don't look out for each other, but there's no one that looks out for us. We're just kind of like freelance, you know what I'm saying, ourselves. And if we lose our money, we're broke.
Well, he really understood. He was like a working DJ that kind of blew up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like he was a working club DJ that just blew up, and that's why I think he realized, like he was kind of we championed him a little bit because, you know, everyone was kind of like a superstar, but he really came up from nothing. Then he was in like Iron Man movies. He was in Entourage, and he had like a Nike sneaker. And we were all like, yo, this is like one.
Well,
of
he
us
was
that
like
came up, right?
he was like the culture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's like a Philly kid who moved to LA and learned. He didn't learn. He's just the culture. He likes sneakers. He likes like the T-shirts that we all wore.
He was like one of us that made it. That just
he made it.
Yeah.
So we were like, damn, our boy made it. You know what I'm saying? And on top of that, he was amazing. Like it was just like frustrating to people because he was fucking amazing as a DJ. Even if you didn't like anything else about him, you cannot listen to him and say, yo, he's terrible, because he could play a song that you don't like, but the way he manipulated the song with the song before and after, you'd be like, fuck me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How does he even, you know, calculate the songs and put them together? And I'd be like, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, to me, I still get super sad, man, that I feel like there's a bunch of younger kids that don't know what it is to be a good DJ, you know what I'm saying? To what it is to mean to make it.
Yeah.
Because after him, who's really made it that big? Cricket.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
In
saying?
the open format world, no one.
Or hip hop wise, neither. You know what I'm saying? Like that. After that, the EDM thing, and he was ahead with the Daft Punk stuff. You know, he'd be. I mean, Steve Aoki. He helped Steve Aoki learn how to DJ.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I remember he would bring Steve Aoki to the fucking clubs down here, and he'd have him watching him play. And I see Steve Aoki, and I saw his documentary, and that dude put him on.
How'd you feel about the documentary?
I think it's dope, man. Steve is, you know, he's an amazing dude. You know what I'm saying? I know he also has like very like personal attachments with Adam. And again, even if you didn't know him, man, you know, he contributed to the way you play your music because he made you work more. You know, you would watch him play and you'd be like, damn, I'm fucking lazy because here I am just playing a record and he's doing. Like even before the Serato shit with the Serato, it's like he would say, Mauricio's like, I have 10 hands with the Seratos and the cue points. But before then, you would be like, man, he knows every part of the record, every snare, every kick, every word, and he would wordplay better than anyone.
I remember him listening to him in LA, and somehow he was able to did the Wonderwall remix on vinyl before Serato. And that's kind of hard to do because he kept cutting it up and the breakbeat was just going. And I was thinking, how the fuck is he doing this? Does he have like 3 or 4 turntables? And he just had 2 turntables. I'm just like, holy shit. And the way he like switched it off quickly, I was just like, wow.
It was just quick, right?
Yeah, man.
He's amazing, man. But again, he besides a DJ, he was just kind of like an amazing human being, you know, and you know, he'll always live through DJs, man. And if you're young or younger and you don't know who he is, his documentary's out, right? You can.
Did you see that or no?
Bro, I didn't watch it for like 3-4 years. Like I watched it honestly like a year ago, and
rough.
I watched it by myself, and I would like literally start like crying. Not like I'm not gonna say I didn't cry, but I'm not like crying like breaking down. But I'd be like a rock in my fucking stomach, and I couldn't watch. And then like 2 days later, I start again from there, and it took me like a week to watch it. And I'm like,
it's not an easy thing to
oh my
watch,
God,
man.
it's terrible,
Towards
man.
the end, it was like I got depressed.
well,
and I
because
got
we
sad.
know what's the inevitable, what's going to happen,
Right.
And I didn't want to start watching because I know how it ends. You know, it's like you know how the movie ends, and you're still going to watch it. And you know, when you see it, I would just timeline myself. I was here. I talked to him that day. I saw him that day. Bro, that shit is terrible, man. Like, and I've watched it only once.
Yeah.
And I still haven't watched it again. And I was gonna play for my friend a couple weeks ago, and I didn't. I don't know. It's a touchy thing for me, you know.
It's funny because nowadays, like, I think like when AM was around, there was a kind of a unity. Like everyone kind of like, you know, he was always around for people. And I didn't even really know him. Like he would probably see me around. I'd see him around.
Right.
But it was one of those things where like I felt like there was more of a unity, and we were kind of proud of him. Like he was kind of our spokesperson. Like he would do dope shit. We'd be like, yo man, like there's like, this is dope. Like he's representing for the DJs like us and shit. And I think when he passed, I feel like it became every DJ for himself. And it was like, and then there was this like maybe fake narratives of dudes pretending to help other people or being like this dude, but they weren't. With AM, I feel like he really felt like he really looked out for motherfuckers and cared about them. You know what I mean?
I felt like he brought back Jazzy Jeff. Because at one point, Jazzy Jeff wasn't doing parties or nothing.
Yeah, that's the dude that he looked up to, and that was like...
Well, he loved the culture.
Yeah.
He wanted to empower himself, the people under him, and even the people he looked up to.
Yeah.
Because he would go... he would go see like Kid Capri, or he would go see Jazzy Jeff, and he'd be like in awe, you know what I'm saying? Like watching them still. You know, like when we go watch DJs, like I have to do an event with Kid Capri, and I haven't played with Kid Capri in like 15 years. And I'm going to sit there in awe because I still think, to me, he's fucking what I've always 20 years wanted to be, like, right? And so I would see AM be like at the top there, and he would go look at like Jazzy Jeff or Kid Capri or any of those guys that he looked up to, and he'd be like a little kid looking at them like in awe. So to me, when he did the Jazzy Jeff thing, it was like, you know what I'm saying? He wanted to help the whole DJ culture. It wasn't him like, oh, I made it, I'm dating, supermodels, I'm making millions of dollars. He'd be like, let me try to do help. He had his DJ,
his management group.
His management group.
Dexter.
And again, and it was never a hatred with Scam. It was never. He was just trying to like.
Oh, it was a little like it was competition, but yeah.
But competition's part of it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always going to be a little competition.
There's a little business. I heard. There's a little business competition here and there. So like with 9/11, and then with like AM's kind of like plane crash with Travis and everything, that really affected like out of town gigs for you, right?
For sure, like 2-3 years, I didn't fly, and I would literally drive to New York, to Chicago, to Boston. LA wouldn't even be an option because I was like, I'm not driving the fuck out there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because I would remember like some people, there would be like rumors of like Mauricio doesn't fly anymore, and then somehow they'll be like, yo, we booked Mauricio for like Memorial Day weekend, and everyone like, he's not going to show up, man. He's not going to get on the plane.
Yo, that would be the thing.
Yeah.
For years, it'd be like a pool of people betting, is he getting on the plane this time?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I'm going, and then I wouldn't go. I'm like,
because I get the call. They'd be like, yo, Mauricio's booked for like Saturday, but he might not be there, so we're going to have you like
be on standby
or whatever, or like whatever. And I'd be like
the understudy of the play. Yeah. Get ready to know your lines because it might not happen. He might be sick.
And I'd be like, I'd be amped. I'd be like, yo, man, I want to hear Mauricio in Vegas. I want to like that. And then you'd be like, yeah, he didn't make it, man. And they'd be like,
there've been times like he was scheduled to do Vegas, and I'd be like, damn, I want to check Mauricio out. They're like, nah, he ain't coming. He didn't show up.
Bro, I was in a dark place, man, and it was just kind of like the reason. And this is what I tell you: me and Irie were making so much money here in Miami at the clubs here. There was nobody else. It was just me and Irie working all the clubs, and we were under contract for Roman, who had Opium, Mansion, Privé, which was the club for a bunch. So he would pay us like, bro, I'll tell you, because I'm not gonna lie, he would give us like between $1,000 and $2,000 a night at that time. Mind you, we're working 5 days a week, so we're clearing 10 bands without leaving. This is 2004, 2005. Everyone else is making $500. So me and I were sitting there just like shit. So when they're like, hey, do you want to come to New York? Man, fuck that. I'm going to make the same staying here. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And I sleep on my bed.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it was just, it was one of those things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, but when Opium Group ultimately, they had their decline a little bit.
Right.
Did that affect, because you were kind of like their golden boy, you and Irie.
Right.
Did that affect how you were DJing?
Well, that's when I was like, hey, Sujit, so what's up with Vegas? You know what I'm saying? What's up with LA? And then that's when I mean, for years, I didn't fly for like 3 years, maybe 4, almost 4. And when I tell you I went to acupuncture, hypnotherapist, Santeria, went,
Oh shit!
I did
He
everything.
went to
My
the
G, I was
shit.
putting fruits in the ocean. Like, I don't know who I was praying to at that point. You know, guys were like spraying me down. You know what I'm saying?
Pause.
Hey.
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ!
yeah. Heavy pause on that. You know what I'm saying? Well, man, first of all,
Yeah, that may be one of the craziest spots. Dudes spraying on me.
I don't get. I said this on the radio in New York. I don't get that. The no homo and pause thing is like some New York shit for me. Because here, we just say what we say,
Yeah.
and now I got to catch myself with the
No,
pause and no homo. But yeah,
Now we I let a couple go by.
Yeah.
I've been letting more go by in Miami. I've been like,
Yeah.
letting it go. And
I just let it be. I mean,
Yeah.
and then I laugh until my head
But that shit was nuts.
But yeah, so I didn't fly, and then the only thing that honestly made me fly was making money.
yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I was like, I'm gonna sit here. The piggy bank that was giving me an hour money is like drying up, and the ones who have real money is going to Vegas,
Right.
going to LA, or going anywhere, Chicago. Because me and Irie were like here brand wise, and every club wanted the Miami guys there,
Right.
Because they pitched South Beach, and South Beach was the cool shit. Because there could be clubs anywhere, but the cool clubs aren't Miami Beach clubs. You know what I'm saying? So they wanted the Miami Beach clubs, DJ. So,
But y'all were like some of the best. Y'all were dope, man. Like even when coming to Miami and hearing y'all, like I can't even compare y'all to New York DJs. You know what I'm saying? Because at the time,
was different because
it's different. But you guys were scratching more. Well, you were scratching more out here
Yeah.
because in New York there was a time in the 2000s where they wouldn't let us scratch, so
Right.
we never heard scratching. And then when I would come to hear you, I'd be like, oh shit, this motherfucker's cutting it up,
yeah.
quick mixing, you was doing everything.
To me, I feel like I just kind of incorporated everything. Like
Yeah.
I grew up listening, like I told you, the dance music, shit like that. But at that time, it was all rock on MTV, and my house was all fucking Spanish, merengue, salsa. So I have all this music. I'm getting like ear fucked again. So when I got to play, I remember, and again, AM would tell me, bro, man, I'm like, yo, you're the greatest. He goes, yo, you're better than me. And I'm like, bullshit. He goes, because you play the rock, and you like, I would try to mimic Stretch Armstrong, Before I met AM, it was like I would listen to Stretch play the Beatles and shit like that. I heard Mark, then I heard AM. So I would incorporate like the Spanish shit that none of those guys would play. So now that when you hear people play all that Spanish shit, people are like, damn, you played that shit, peak hour, biggest club, even like anywhere that I'd be in New York, anywhere, I'm playing Carlos Vives at the time, and while I'm playing like some dance shit, and people are like, what the fuck is he doing? Then when they see it work, it's that whole thing. They don't want to play it, but when they see it works, they're like, oh, it worked. I need that record. You know what I'm saying? Because that works. And so to me, I feel like when I go to New York, even when I went to LA for a lot of time, I started doing shit with I did Playhouse a bunch, but then I started doing like the Black Hollywood shit. I was doing the shit with the Supreme Team on Tuesdays, like at Supper
yeah.
Club.
Yeah.
I was going there every fucking Tuesday,
Wow.
right? And I went there one time. Shout out Johnny Cruz, because he brought me out there, and I was like, oh shit, never been to a fucking all black like Hollywood club. I played there, and I play how I play here. The motherfucker's mouth were like falling down. Like he plays like like South shit. I'm playing Gucci and Jeezy the way I know how to play. In LA, they don't play it that way, right? And so,
What year was this around?
2012, 2011.
Yeah.
this was
I remember I caught Mauricio a few times at Playhouse, and it was a certain way he would DJ, but across the street at Supper Club, it was way different. It's like two different worlds.
oh my G, I loved it. I was like, yo, and I would play like I'm playing like a hood spot here in Miami.
Yeah.
And so to me, they'd never heard, at least at that party, right? And I did one guest spot, and then they're like, hey, do you want to come back next week? And then it was like once a month, and it was like every other week. Then I was playing literally every week out there. And then I was just over it. I was like, I can't do this fucking flight every fucking week, man.
Yeah.
I was fucking over it. But yeah, to me, I feel like I play a little like how I've heard Laz play, Clark Kent, Kid Capri, AM, and I take I don't want to say the best. I take what I like from theirs, and then I incorporate mine, and so you get like a little bit of everything. If you hear me play, I play hip hop the way I feel it should be played, the way I like to hear it played. To some people, they might think I quick mix too much, but it's worked. I've been doing it 20 plus years, and I've never had a job in my life.
Yeah.
You know, I've never had a boss. I've never had anything. You know what I'm saying? Everything I've had, the house that I own, the car that I own, has all been off of playing music. And a lot of people can't say that.
Are you comfortable flying now, or is it still?
Bro.
Do you have like a system? Or, yeah.
I figured, so to me.
Tell me your system.
This is the system. You guys, I'm going to help you out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All you DJs because I used to hate, if we all got on a plane, all my friends would fucking fall asleep and I'd be like this for 5 hours, miserable, you know, like,
yeah.
And I'd be like, what the fuck, man? And I'd be like, let me take melatonin, right? Or let me take what's the sleeping pill that you take? Ambien.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, I can't be addicted to fucking Ambien going to New York on a 2-hour trip. I only take Ambien when I go like to Japan and shit because I'm not trying to be up there.
18-hour flights is crazy.
That Ambien's like a dart to your neck. And it's, anyways, but so I figured out the trick is for me, you take the flight when you usually go to sleep. That being said, for me, my whole life, I go to sleep 6, 7 in the morning, right? So I always like to take the late flight because I was like, I'll take the late flight, eat, play, leave.
Right.
But I'd be wide awake. And the New York flights weren't a big deal for me, but the LA flights and the long flights, the Vegas flights, I was like, fuck this. But once I started adjusting it to taking 6, if you look, any of my bookers, or you ask Sujit, he knows first flight in, first flight out. So I go straight from the club. Dude, I got to go, oh, let's go eat. Or some girl stay at my house. Nah, bitch, I got to go. You know, my flight's leaving. I got to go to sleep in the plane. Yeah. And I'm not fucking that shit up. So I learned if I book the flight when I usually naturally go to sleep, which is 5, 6, 7 o'clock, I started falling asleep, right? And this was before all this bullshit. Now, yeah, I put in like sleeping sounds on my fucking iPhone or whatever, you know, works. But once I started doing that, it took me a while. But now I'm like this, man, on the plane. Nice. There's no issues whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I fly whenever, but I most of the time I'll fly into your city in the morning.
That's dope.
Nice.
And then I want to talk about, are there any like new generation DJs that you hear nowadays that you're kind of feeling? And then how do you think the new generation approaches DJing compared to us? Because we, you know, a lot of us started from vinyl to Serato, but now there's probably this new generation that just went straight to Serato or like these DJ, you know, these what do you call those? The
like the controllers.
Controllers, you know what I mean? Yeah. You
know the fucked up shit is I tell all these young kids when they have me do panels or I go to the scratch academies and shit like that.
Yeah.
When I'm assuming all of us use vinyl, right?
Yeah.
Here,
yeah.
Everyone
yeah.
here. When we wanted a song and we didn't know, I would hear Tony Touch, what is that? Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'd go look, I need Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah.
And they didn't have a single. You'd buy the album, you'd listen to the whole fucking thing, and then you like fall in love with the Earth, Wind, and Fire or anyone else. And those kids will never, or not kids, but the younger DJs don't have the opportunity to do that. But they do because they have fucking infinite albums here. They choose not to, which is what I don't understand. Because for me, I guess there is something nice about listening to an album, whatever. But you have the opportunity, if you wanted to, listen to whatever you want. They just choose not to. Mm-hmm. So just by you choosing not to, being able to listen to it in the car, while you're in the bathroom, anywhere, that makes you a worse DJ. Just by that, to me, as a DJ, you lose points for that because you don't want to educate yourself into learning music. You just want to play that one record because you don't know, you might actually fucking like the guy or other artists that are similar. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you're doing a disservice. That's why I feel most DJs, to your question, most younger DJs aren't that good. I'm not dissing them, it's just a fact. I can't name you, if you said, who do you think the next, I won't say him, but like the next huge DJ from Miami is, bruh, I don't know. Cass is like you said.
Yeah.
He's dope.
Dizza?
Oh yeah, shout out Adrian, shout out Dizza. But Dizza caught like the tail end. Dizza opened for me a bunch of times.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And his best friend is one of my best friends too. So, we kind of.
I actually feel like there's a few dudes in Dez's generation.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a few dudes. I think before him, I think it's a little rough. But I also think sometimes the social media and the marketing takes gets more attention than the actual music catalog, like you said. You know what I mean? And
well, social media has messed it all up because DJs care more about their social media than fucking learning about your music.
The only reason why they care about social media more is because the nightclubs and everyone who's booking cares more about it.
Well, I was telling you, remember, it's like you said, it's part of your protocol now.
Yeah.
I need you to do this many posts. I need you to mentions. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. And again, I don't hear the club style and Calvin Harris to fucking do posts. You know what I'm saying? But us as a hip hop culture, we always settle. I've said this for fucking years, man. Like, we should be making way more money. Mm-hmm. We should, but we accept always not less, but we don't know any better. But we've been saying that now 20 years later. I remember when I was young, it's like, oh yeah, we'll take less money because we don't know any better. But 20 years now, you know what I'm saying? I'm like 40 and I'm saying the same fucking excuses 20 years ago. So in 20 years, we haven't done shit. Mm-hmm. We're still fucking we went from $500 when I was 18 to $1,000, $1,500. That's it. Yet the EDM guys figured it out and they're making $100,000 and the club owners don't tell them shit. But when it's a hip hop DJ, I need you to come here. I need you to try to book a table. I need you to post and do the live and do an IG live when you're here. Yo, get the fuck out of here, man. But if I don't do it, there's 10 DJs that will. Yeah. And they'll do it for a quarter the amount of money. And that's the fucked up shit of this game.
You have a son.
Right.
Super cute son.
Looks just like you.
Yeah.
Who DJs?
Who DJs? But I'm wondering, because like when I don't have a kid, but I'm imagining if I ever had a kid, I would see a lot of things different. My perspective on how DJing, because you're trying to teach them a little bit, and you don't want to be like an overbearing father. You want them to kind of love the craft and kind of gravitate to it on it.
Well, let me tell you,
right?
For me, even before the DJ thing, as a dad thing, us DJs were always like, city, throwing our fucking dick around everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Whatever happens. I won't be back there. I don't know her. But once you have a kid, to all the DJs who have a kid, you understand where I come from. Like, to me, I was in and out of Miami every other day, 2-3 times a week. Once I had my kid, man, I was like, nothing's going to change. Man, shit changes, man. Because I like being here for my kid. I've compromised work, travel. But when initially I didn't, I was miserable that I wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I feel like, oh, I'm not, that cliche, I'm not getting those hours back, that day back with my kid. So I was like, man, I'm at my happiest when I'm doing shit with my kid. I still DJ, I still do the radio. I got a bunch of new music that I'm putting out, stuff like that. But to me, yeah, it would be awesome. It would be dope if he's a DJ. He likes fucking around with
he is a DJ. I mean, he's on there.
He loves it.
Yeah.
He loves it. But
did he just watch you and get interested?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're a kid, anything that spins around is going to catch your eye. And then when you have music, the sound it makes when you touch it.
Yeah.
I mean, even as grown-ups, you know what I'm saying? We see a turntable anywhere, and you want to go and move it back and forth.
And your kid loves the music. He's dancing, he's scratching, he's doing the whole thing.
Loves the dances. He knows more music than most adults. He's grown up at the radio. I've done my radio. He used to be in the holster. I used to do the radio with him in the holster. And he used to be crying the first time he'd hear the music loud or hear me yelling on the mic on the radio. And he got used to it. Now, bro, he sees any artist. Oh yeah, I know Pitbull, I know Fat Joe, I just saw him over here, this and that. Like nothing. He's just kind of grown in the industry thing. But again, as a dad who's a DJ, I would love him to be a DJ. If he doesn't want to be a DJ, then that's cool.
Because I was talking to Laz about it too. Like his son is DJing,
but he didn't, and he just like now he's good.
Yeah,
his son is like dope. I saw him cutting like his son.
But he said like he took a step back, and his son just kind of DJ'd on his own. And,
because people for years would say, "Yo, man, your son's got to be a DJ," and he would be like, "Yeah, he kind of fucks around with it," but he would say, "Oh, he's kind of like shy to do it in front of people."
Right.
But I've seen homie like when his dad goes to open up like these big shows for Pitt or something. And he calls his son out there, and he cuts probably as good as his dad now. Laz's hands might have gone a little slower, man. But his kids cut, man. But that's amazing to see your kid. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You want your kid to surpass you and do greater things than yourself. And
what's the main thing you would tell, like, when your son gets older? Well, what's the main thing you would tell him? The number one thing about DJing.
About DJing?
Yeah. The number one advice.
You gotta love it, man. DJing is a thing. It's like a craft that it's like passion driven. You can't do it for money. You can't do it for anything else, man. If you love music has a bunch of avenues. You can do, again, production. You can do radio. If you like to DJ just because you like to DJ, you can't do it for money, because I was broke forever, just like probably all of us were at some point with no money. And then at some point, the money comes, man, but you can't do it because of money. And again, if it's just a side thing for him, that's amazing too. You know what I'm saying? Because he might grow into it more later on than I do. The paths are never the same. I got to a certain point at a certain age, and some other people got big later on, and you never know.
Yeah.
When you're like linked to a bunch of artists, like you've been making songs for a minute, you've been producing for a minute. You get like Rick Ross on there. You get all of these big rappers on there. Did you get in contact with a lot of these rappers through the nightclubs, or was it through radio, you think?
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
But the radio is always helps, because they'll bring you the artists when they're new. So you get a jump start on all the new artists. When I've passed on artists that thought never were going to be big. To this day, I say Ray Shremmerd, they brought him to the radio, and I always do these side interviews and freestyles. I'm like, man, they're not going to do anything, Then I remember a week later, I went to LA, and they were in the Popular Demand store performing, right? They were doing a No Flex Zone.
Yeah.
And they did it here, and they were doing it everywhere at every club. I'm like, bruh, these guys aren't doing anything with their life, right?
Bro, 2 months later.
My G, I tell Slim Jimmy that when I saw him, and he laughs. But that's 20 years of radio. I can name you a million people. I thought that. Even with Pitt's my dog, and he would bring me music, and I'm like, what is this, man? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The thing is with music, you got to find the niche or your sound, and once you see that people like it, then you press the gas on it, and that's what it is. With the radio, you just kind of get exposure to artists. To this day, as soon as I'm on the air, a million artists DM me. I'm the next guy. Everyone's the next guy. I'm the one. I'm the next guy. I'm the next Rick Ross. I'm the next Kodak. Maybe they are, maybe they're not, or maybe they will be. But yeah. So with the radio, you have the labels will bring them in when they're new. You build that relationship, and then when they pop, you're good, because you're like, hey, remember
I was playing your record
when you weren't shit. You know what I'm saying?
Even though I didn't think.
And you were like, yeah, and I've helped indirectly grassroots a shitload of artists.
Any particular artists
that I've helped?
Yeah.
Bro, everyone from 2003 to now. T.I., Jeezy, I mean, all the Miami guys.
A lot of South rappers.
All the South guys, because the South guys always came around here. Yeah. David Banner. But even like the newer guys, Pump, Kodak.
What about X?
Oh my God, X is the homie, man. Because when he got out of prison the first time, he came to the radio.
No, I was talking about XXXTentacion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. When he got out of prison,
I thought you were talking DMX.
No. Yeah.
Wrong X.
Yeah. When Triple X came out of prison the first time, they brought him to the radio, and again I was like, who the fuck is this kid with the fucking tattoos and shit like that? Because the younger wave of kids all look the same. They have the dreads, they color their hair, the tattoos on their face.
Yeah.
I get it. Right.
Like that Lil Wayne syndrome.
I'm not going to be the guy saying, yo, you look crazy, because I was like that. You know what I'm saying? So he came and he gave us his whole story, and he was like, not weird, but like weird, that like captivating. So we were like, man, there's something special about this kid. And he blew up, and he was like one of those Mauricio. I get funny stories because like Kodak, people are in prison. You know, when you're in prison, they play the radio. It's like terrestrial radio.
Yeah.
So people are locked up. They listen to me on radio, and since I'm always on the radio, Kodak, oh, I heard you on the radio. XO, when I'm locked up, they always got the hip hop station on. This kid Anuel, who's like huge,
He was locked up.
right? That's my dog. He was locked up here. I was with him the other day, and he while we were walking around, he's, hey, you know, I listened to you on the radio. I'm like, man, this guy's fucking bullshitting me. He ain't listening to me on the radio. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. And he's like, no, because I know you have a Beyonce drop. I know he's naming all these drops. And I'm like, yo, and it's always when I'm locked, you know, when we're locked up, you listen to what's on. And so they listen to you. So Kodak and X said the same thing. And me and him bonded. I'm not going to say we're best friends like that, but we bonded. He gave me his number. And then I hit him like, yo, let's link up. Let's go to the studio. Dude, the kid would FaceTime me all the time. Even when he blew up, when he would get all that backlash with this and that. And then again, he was here for like 6 months, 8 months, and then he was like gone, taken away from the world.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
is that like him getting like kind of robbed in his own neighborhood pretty much?
right. He was leaving,
It's like-
he was leaving like an
car
ATV,
dealership.
like a scooter place. He was buying like an ATV.
Is that like an odd scenario for Miami?
No, man, here they run up on you anywhere.
Yeah.
Here, like,
Even if they know you're like the hometown hero, it's
they
just
don't
like,
care, man.
yeah.
When you're broke, man, and you got something that I want, and I don't want to fucking work for it, I'm
Yeah.
taking it from you. And if I'm not, we are, and that's just how it is. That's anywhere, man. Like the people that'll kill you are always people closer to you than what you think. You know, you want to think it's a stranger, but it's always people that keep tabs on you.
It's true,
They
like
know where
Nipsey.
you
I mean,
live.
look at
They
Nipsey.
know where your friends are. They know where your mom lives. They know like what school you go. You know your neighborhood, and they just kind of sit there. And even if I'm trying to rob you, or even if I'm not, I'm your dog and I'm not, but he's always with me. He might be plotting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I don't know it. And then one day you get robbed, and you're like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And they did a home invasion on my house a while back, and
Wow.
they tried to get when I had all that jewelry, and I remember the crime scene guy gave me that whole shit like, bro, you got to think of your friends, and I'm like, dude, it's not my boys, because I have the same 2-3 guys that are my boys since I grew up, and he goes, no, it's not them, but their friends that are there, because you don't know if your friend who lives there is with a bunch of friends, and he's like, yo, Mauricio's my dog, and he's gonna be like, yeah, he lives right here, and then they're like, all right, when they're not with your boy, they come up and they know, you know what I'm saying, they give them the whole fucking blueprint of how to get you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, down here it's crazy, man. It happens, and it's crazy, man, because that kid would have been, I don't want to say the cliche thing, you know, he passed, he was gonna be great, but he had like
Yeah.
potential to be amazing.
Super talented, man.
Super talented.
Yeah,
Good
The kid,
music too.
he was mixed kid, so he was Spanish and black, and he could, you know, he can kind of do the melodic thing, fast, slow, and who knows, man? His family has a bunch of his music, so we'll see.
Yeah. Typically, when you link up with an artist, and you try to get them on a record. How do you finesse that? Like, how do you know what I mean?
I mean, if you helped him, you hit him with the A, my G. Remember?
Remember that one time I put the spins on? Yeah.
I mean, they know if it's like Miami artists know what it is, because like Miami artists would be every day at the radio, every day at the club, every day at the strip club. Yo, play this, play this, play this. But new artists, it's more kind of finessing the thing. You know what I'm saying? Again, the game is you gotta build. It's all relationships. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want to say I don't want to be friends with all these guys, but I try to be cool with them. You know, because again, they pop.
You never know.
Yeah,
And you might need
it helps them,
to-
and you got to make sure that he knows that you helped him out. You know, you didn't do nothing illegal. It's not like I'm saying like payola or anything, but you supported him, and cool. I've gotten turned down by artists that I've helped, And I don't get butthurt or nothing, because to me, in theory, is cool. You're right here. You're at the top right now, but eventually you want to have another artist that you want, or eventually you have a second album or a third album, and eventually that record ain't going to be big, and you're going to need help with it. And that's when I don't want to say when the big book starts rolling. That's when the door starts knocking, you know? And that's when I tell them. And
do you remember that? Are you kind of like, yo, man, like?
Yeah, I'm like, fuck him. You know what I'm saying? When they come around, I'll be fuck him. And then we squash it and we talk. But I'm like, yo, man, don't be a fucking piece of shit, man. You know what I'm saying? I treat you with respect. You're talking to me now because you're fucking up here like I'm a nobody. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually they got to be like knocking on the door like, hey, I got a new record. Or even, again, I'll have new artists I need help with. And you know, it's a revolving door, man. It's a chess game. It's never like yes or it's not just one thing. Yes or no, right or wrong. Yeah. You got to play the long game. With radio, if you want to do music, the radio is a platform, but it's for the best thing the radio is for is networking with artists.
Has West Coast music ever really been popping out here?
Yeah, the early 90s. I mean, you get, for us, well, you know how we look at West Coast thing? Like every 5 years. Yeah. Hey, it's Snoop or Dre. Hey, then there's Snoop. Then there's Game. Then there's like YG. Now it's then like Nip. You know what I'm saying? It's like every 5 years we get somebody, you know? Now it's like, hey, it's Roddy Ricch now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it'll be like they pop so hard for like 2 years and then they like fucking vanish. I don't know why. You know, but when I go to LA, and I would like when I was doing Supper Club, it would be like 3 hours of West Coast music. I'm like, what the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? I don't know none of these records, but you would hear like that. I got turned on to Mustard over there, to YG, to all those West Coast guys a couple years back, you know, 4 or 5 years, and I'd come here to the radio. Yo, this shit is crazy. Play it. Crickets, my G. Because
everyone stops dancing.
Miami used to be like super believers in like New York hip hop, right? But West Coast in the 90s, again, man, like I remember the Dre shit, but after that, it's like you got to be super big for it to be big here. But even like the New York shit, in Miami, we don't play like how we used to play before. Jadakiss and Jay-Z.
Right.
And who do we play from New York?
You have like nobody. You got like Young M.A.
ASAP.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
people are always like, oh, French Montana. Yeah, I was like, French lives in Calabasas. Is like, I like French, but you know what I'm saying? But it's not. Yeah, ASAP. ASAP is like consistent, but he's never really crossed over with that humongous number one record.
The only time I like the new Fat Joe record, what was that with? Face Down, Ass Up.
Yeah, that's a yes with that.
That's working out. Is that working here?
It's huge here. Yeah, but again, it works.
That we don't play that. Like in Vegas in the West, I was like, I don't think I've ever even heard it. I've never even thought to play it out there. And then we was at BT's the other night.
It sounded so good.
And it sounded crazy. Like, and the dancers were all wilding out. And like, oh shit, this is a big
that's funny
record,
because
right?
you leave here and you're like, man, that shit works. And then you get back home and you're like, fuck. Everyone's staring at you. You're playing and he's the only one jumping around to it. And everyone else
BT's on the river.
Remember BT's, man? BT's, bro.
But I would come back. I'm telling you, Supper Club on Tuesdays, I'm like, wait till Friday comes. I'm dropping all this Mustard records. And I'd get here and I'd go and play that same set that I know kills out there. Yeah. And everyone's like, bro, play Chris Brown already. You know what I'm saying? Play the Motto or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, here now Miami is just so like down south shit. We want to hear Atlanta shit, Louisiana shit, before everything else. And then Spanish shit, because that's what's big. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, the Fat Joe record, I can see if it doesn't hit in LA, but I can tell you why it works here. You know, besides Joe lives here, it's like an East Coast record, up and down. It has Cardi. He got the two biggest artists right now. You know what I'm saying?
Anuel and Cardi B. Yeah.
Right. So even if the record wasn't amazing, he'll get the streams just off Cardi's fans, just off Anuel's fans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he's going to go, that record's going platinum no matter what.
I think we were making fun of that record, right?
Yeah, we was.
And then we heard it, and we were like, "Oh, this shit is kind of popping." Yeah,
I was like,
Well,
come
let
on,
me tell you,
was Fat
my
Joe.
brother Dre from Cool and Dre, so,
Yeah.
he played that for me.
well, the beat is a monster.
It's
The beat
crazy.
is
It's
a
like
monster.
Hector Lavoe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? First of all, I was like, yo, you're never clearing Hector Lavoe. And they cleared it. And then I heard it, and I was like, man, the first time I heard it was like too much going on.
Yeah.
I was like, the drums over the Hector
Yeah.
Lavoe singing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I couldn't hear it. And he was like telling me, like, don't tell nobody. And I only heard it when Joe cut the verse. He's like, we're going to get Cardi. I'm like, boom, that's just going to be dope. It has Cardi. Then they got Cardi, and they're like, who's on the last one? Oh, we can't tell you. Then they played me the Anuel thing. I was like, oh, man, it's cool. But I wasn't sold on it. Again, it had to grow on me.
Yeah.
Now on the radio, we play it every day. Here in Miami, every day we play it. But it works because the Latin market fucks with Anuel, because Anuel's like, anything is huge that kid does right now. Anything. He's like the new Ozuna, Bad Bunny, J Balvin.
right,
He's that guy this year. And Cardi, the thing is, you know what we say about Fat Joe? He finds a record every 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we was,
No matter, go back to like 97 and count 3 years, and you'll see there's a
we was
record.
just talking about that on the podcast. He's been doing this since like 92. Like,
Yeah.
every 3-5 years he come out with a hit.
I said
And it's a bona fide hit. It's not a.
It's not-
It's that hit that
mediocre.
carries over for 3 years.
Yeah. I said he has one of the best ears in hip hop. Like he knows the record pretty well.
He knows what to put out. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And he doesn't really stray away. Like he uses Cool and Dre for like the last 10 years. But
Yeah.
he gets the feature. The thing is, artists look up to him. He's been around so long. They're like, he's real hip hop. He's a dude from the Bronx. That's Don Cartagena. He found Big
Don
Pun.
Cartagena.
He found.
Remy was with him early years.
He
too.
put on Remy. He found Khaled. You know, you hear everything.
And I don't think motherfuckers know how much of a thing Terror Squad was in Miami.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
like-
it was always out here.
Like Terror, who was the one dude that was like proclaimed into Terror Squad that was out here? He was like in promotions, or was it like
Raul?
Roman Jones's brother? Or
Oh, Julian.
yeah, Julian.
Yeah.
He went like Miami was like Terror Squad in Miami was like
Yeah.
it was deep, yo.
Yeah,
like
fuck yeah.
Because when Joe moved down here in the early 2000s, he brought everyone, because you remember Fat Joe never flew.
Oh yeah.
He never flew until like 2006, 2007. So he would drive down with two navigators full of dudes from the Bronx. So it'd be him, Pistol Pete, what was the name of the other guys? I don't know. I can't think off the top of my head. But he'd be with like 10 dudes, and then eventually they all just ended up moving here. You know what I'm saying?
And then Scott Storch was down here.
Yeah.
So
Scott.
yeah,
right.
and
Scott's-
them two together is crazy.
I mean, Scott
Alone is nuts.
made Fat Joe's infinitely forever money. You know what I'm saying? With Lean Back
And Make It
Make It
Rain.
Rain. You know, Joe can forever get money off of those records. And he caught Storch at his peak.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. You know
what I'm
Right
saying?
before, and then
That's before
towards
the
late.
meltdown.
Before
And
he met up with Paris Hilton and started hanging out with her, and they started doing
No
shit.
Cam.
he got caught. He was a victim of South Beach, which happens.
Yeah.
He got caught up in the black hole, and he was a.
Explain that a little bit. Kind of.
All right, so he moved down here. You know, he's a Philly kid, and he moved down here. He lived up in Broward, and he was, you know, he's so talented, Scott Storch, man. Like, I know people know him from, Dr. Dre and stuff like that. He was part of the Roots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Just off of that, you should understand how musically gifted he is, because the Roots only has incredible musicians, and he was the keyboard player for the Roots. He produced
Still Dre.
"You Got Me" record, which is
Yeah.
hands down,
Oh, yeah.
That was the-
commercially the best Roots record ever,
Yeah.
with Erykah Badu, with
Black
what's
Dog.
home
Eve was on it also.
with Eve, yeah.
Yeah.
Eve was on there. Eve did the girls
yeah.
verse on there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So he moved down here, and then with hip hop production, you catch that wave, and you're that guy.
Yeah.
He did all Beyonce's
Me, Myself, and
yeah.
I.
Me, Myself, and I.
And then 50 Cent just gave him hits and hits.
Just
Yeah.
I mean, he
Just a
did
little
Chris
bit.
Brown's first #1 record. He did "Run It." for
Run
him.
it. Yeah.
Oh shit! I didn't know he did that. Wow.
Yeah, man. He did all Lil Wayne shit, all the G Unit shit, Fat Joe shit. He caught a lick, so he was pissing money. The guy was printing money like there was no tomorrow.
This is when he was like, this is when he was cutting the top of Bentleys
Correct.
to make them convertible.
Right.
And everyone was like, you're fucking crazy.
Yeah, Phantoms didn't work. Phantoms didn't. We're all hard tops.
Phantoms, yeah.
So he was like, "Oh, I need a convertible." He paid like the same. It cost like $1 million to cut the top off of a car that's $500,000.
That was some. Everyone was like, "Yo, this motherfucker's out of his mind."
No, he had the run he had was crazy.
Trying to do a drop top Phantom.
Make it rain.
But yeah, man, like he was there, and no one can fuck with him at that point. And it's a case of the beach, man. Like the alcohol, the drugs, and he'll tell you himself, man. He hit rock bottom, and not until you hit it, you can acknowledge it and that you've hit it. And I hear he's doing amazingly. He keeps telling me, come to LA. He comes here, but in his heyday.
So he moved to LA.
Yeah, he's been living in LA for like a few years now. And
I follow him on Instagram. And he just be fucking around in the studio.
The keys, yes.
And I'm just like, God damn, man. It's like every beat
when he
is
does
dope,
a medley and he just plays all his hits just on the keys, it's one of the best things I've ever heard in my life.
I can show you videos when I would go to his house and I have him doing all the Dr. Dre stuff. Then he does all the Dangerously in Love shit, the Beyonce. He does the Busta I'll Hurt You right on the piano.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. You see him do Candy Shop and
he has Candy Shop, just a little bit popping them things. Me, Myself, and I, Let Me Love You, Still.
And this is when people would buy hard copies. So he was making like real money when labels made real money.
So that's the South Beach Black Hole? Is that the...
I mean, most people get caught in the South Beach Black Hole. And the thing is, he caught it while he was making tremendously amounts of money.
So it was a deeper black hole than usual.
Listen, those Scott Storch house parties after the clubs were insane.
Did you DJ those?
Hell no, I would just go. What the fuck do I want to DJ over there?
I don't know.
I would go after the club, and it would be whoever you would think doing whatever you would think.
Whoever you would think.
Whatever you would think, and it didn't matter. It would be insane, man. And there were good times, but I mean, it fucked up his life.
Yeah.
Fuck it, the career. It fucked up his life, and he had to move and get the fuck out of here because it wasn't really health-wise doing shit. And now I think he's married or engaged.
Yeah.
He took his daughter out there. He's amazing, man. Like he has his balance, man. To me, everything is balanced, man. My shit was so fucked up, like most DJs, man. Sleep all day, out all night, fucking partying, girls, all this shit, man. And not until I hit rock bottom you realize how fucked up your life is. So there's nothing wrong with hitting rock bottom, man. You know what I'm saying? You hit rock bottom,
just bounce back.
You got nowhere else to go
just
but
get
up.
Back up. Just
you
get
got
back
nowhere
there.
else to go once you hit rock bottom. But
I mean, it's all about like self-awareness, right? Just being self-aware of your weaknesses and your strengths, and then try not to overindulge in the weaknesses too much and everything.
There's always going to be
right?
weakness, and once you can overcome a weakness, another one will come. That's just how life is.
But it's also, and to me, that's what I think greatness is, and that's what I think life is that, when some people dig their own ditches, some people fall in ditches, but it's all about getting out of the ditch and and keep going and shit like that.
Right, we're all going to fall. It's how you bounce back from the fall.
And usually when you get out of that ditch is when you really achieve greatness. It's like, for me, I always say this, I said, with every breakthrough, there's a breakdown.
Correct.
You have to, it doesn't come one out of another. You can't just keep winning and winning and winning. You know what I mean? It doesn't come like that, man.
And again, we all hit that pavement. When I tell you, I didn't even hit the floor. I hit the floor. I dug my own hole and I threw myself in there and covered myself up. That's how I was at a bad point in my life. But you have clarity once you see it, because when you're moving so fast, the vision gets so foggy, right? You like straight tunnel vision. You're going night to night, club to club, plane to plane. Yeah. Girl to girl, girl from whatever you want to, you know what I'm saying? And your shit's so, you're not thinking anymore. You're like a fucking zombie. You have to hit that rock bottom. It's probably the one thing that'll save your life is hitting that rock bottom at some point. And then you can still DJ, but you do it with more balance. You see, man, I need to change this or I'm going to die. physically, mentally, in every way. And then you're good. I think I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I mean, yeah. And you almost had a song with Rick Ross, right? And Troy Ave.
Yeah.
Paper Plates,
Right.
2016.
Fuck me, man. You know?
It was like bad timing, right?
My G, it was like about to go out, and then Troy shoot somebody, and fucking no radio station wants to fucking play that record.
I was talking with Jamie about it earlier, right?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. At any point, did you feel like, yo, I gotta take this dude off of the record, or like, fuck it, it is.
People told my PD told me we can't play Troy Ave because he like murdered somebody.
It was like you said that. I saw somebody. You said you were gonna shoot the video on Memorial Day weekend, and the incident happened 2 days prior.
Right, it happened right. This shit got so fucked, man.
This was the shooting in like Queens or something,
No,
right?
it's Irving
No,
Plaza.
this Irving Plaza.
Irving Plaza, yeah.
It was T.I. was performing.
Yeah.
And he was opening up or some shit like that.
And they have video of Troy
Irving
Ave,
Plaza's,
right?
yeah. You see him, it's like the night, he's like fucking
He's
shooting.
like walking back with the
Yeah.
gun, and then he's shooting.
It was that whole situation with Tax Stone and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
With Troy,
And he's still, he has a court date coming up. He still hasn't gotten out of that shit, man. But I always thought Troy Ave was like dope. He was like real New York.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was like that guy. I hate saying bring New York back, but he was like a good New York guy that was gonna, you know, had the whole package.
Yeah.
He had a good flow. He had a good tone. He said like sonically he sounded good. Like
He had good songs.
yeah, he had good writing. It was good. He kind of sang a little bit, but he had a good wordplay. And I was like, I'm gonna use him on the record. Bro, the Ross and Gotti thing was easy because they're here and I can get them. I was like, I need someone from New York, and he was like, to me, like he's gonna blow. And even if he doesn't, eventually he'll blow, and I'll have like, the guy at that point. So I just put my bet on him, and
He blew up the wrong way.
bro,
You had a few records that you dropped, and I've heard, and I've been like, that shit is dope. And then, let's see if it happens.
I've done
Paper Plates was great.
people love paper plates, and it's just kind of like, you know, with music is this timing, man.
Yeah.
There's people that have some of the best music, they've never put it out, or they put it out and never did anything, that you could go back to any artist and listen to their catalog, and you're like, how did this song not become big? It's all timing, man, what people want to hear, and what the labels push in, and what programmers, it's just, like, the whole industry is hard, man. When people ask me always for advice on putting on music, and there's no right way, man. It's like, you can say, I'm going to do it myself, and you can put $200,000 of your own money, and in a month, you have nothing.
Yeah.
$200,000 went to what? To playing it? Because you can budget it out and get people to play, but if people don't want to hear it, you're fucked, right? Or you can say, fuck it, I'll give everything to the label. Then it pops, but they keep the majority of your shit. So, I mean,
It's rough, man, because you could have a hit, and it could take like a year, like 8 months to a year to pop, and it's about you.
ASAP Ferg, you know what I'm saying? Plain Jane was out.
Mm-hmm.
Lizzo, like 2 years.
Yeah.
That Lizzo record, 2 years out, sitting there. And you think, like, I think when someone told me that, I'm like, fuck, how did I not hear that? Or maybe they played it and I just kind of like blew it off. Like, it wasn't like big.
It didn't sound like it didn't sound like a record it sounded like a musical
I mean, even
song,
if I hear it now, I'm like, it's cool, but I'm not running to play it.
Yeah.
So to me, again, I've been wrong before with records, and maybe that one was it, but
I think we were all wrong. I mean, we all heard it. We all heard it.
When I first
We were
heard it, I was
yeah.
like, this is kind of cheesy.
This is not going to be for the club.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it ended just
now you have like a
blowing up.
re-drum. You're like, ooh, there's a way I got to play it because the girls are going to like it.
Yeah, man. But you're working on music now, right? You
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Listen, those days of DJs making money just off of DJing that I was telling you, you got to have something else to sell, man. And you could be amazing, and you have to have something else. There's no, the way culture, society, technology, you can't just say, hey, I'm a great DJ, I want a residency in Tal, or I want this much money in Miami. They're going to be like, no. But you put out music and your record's big, then you can ask for whatever.
Yeah.
And as a DJ, that's probably the easiest way to go, to put out music. It's hard if you don't have the relationships, but for me, that's why I've never left radio. I feel like it's easy for me to do music if I want to, when I want to do it. And if not, I like doing radio. So it's a win-win for me. But yeah, you have to put music. For me, I have a bunch of music coming out in January. It's a bunch of different music. It's not all hip hop. I have some reggaeton stuff. I'm working with Anuel on some stuff.
That's dope.
Nice.
That I can't put out till February because I can't. He has way too much shit, and the label's never gonna clear it. But and I have a bunch of stuff with Tory Lanez. I have a shit with
great.
Yeah, Tory lives down here in Miami.
I'm excited for that.
Tory's amazing, man. Like,
because he's about to release Chicks tape, the new one.
He's about to drop it right now. He's about to do promo.
Yeah. So
I have a couple of things that I've done with him, and he's like, I feel like, not that people don't know of him, but he's just so talented, that kid, man.
Talented,
I sit in the studio and he'll write you a song in 20 minutes. He'll write it, go in the studio, hum it out, write it right there, and the shit's done. He's like, boom, there it is. And I'm like, fuck, man. If I can write songs that quick, I'd be fucking, I'd be fucking rich. But the kid, he's so fucking talented, man.
People sleep on a lot of his shit, like even the 2 a.m. with what's his name from up in New York, Casanova.
Yeah,
great hit. And the shit he did with Osuna, great.
He knows.
Love, even his own records.
But because he sounds good with anything. That's what I tell people. You put him with like some trap shit, and he can do the Meek Mill shit. What was the Meek Mill and Tory Lanez record?
The Meek Mill.
I'm gonna go on my shit right now. See, this is what technology is good for. Meek Mill, but yeah, he's done records with everyone, and I've heard him.
Oh, was it Liddy?
Yeah,
Liddy.
Liddy.
That's a great record.
It's a good record, man, and it's never like a huge record, but you can play in the club and it hits. And so with him, he had like the beef with Drake and all that bullshit, but now they're good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he's recorded like 3-4 shits with Drake, but I'm dying to hear.
He's like this close to having a huge crossover hit, you know?
He's way,
because he's got the streets
He's
right
got
now.
the club.
Yeah,
He's got the club
streets.
records.
He has a club record.
And the girls, like the young, like
girls,
let me tell
love
you,
him. Yeah.
When I'm with girls like 18 and 24, which is like the radio demo, and I'm like, yo, who should I do music with? They're like, Tory Lanez. That's like the first answer. You know what I'm saying?
Even the controller version he did was better than Drake's.
Yeah. He flips it, man, and he knows, you know, like he knows his genius. He knows that he has that wave, and so does Drake. I guarantee. You know what I'm saying? Like all these guys know what it is, because someone like Ozuna is not going to do a song with anyone. You know what I'm saying?
Feel it.
So he's going to do shit with Tory, because Tory's that guy. But yeah, so knock on wood, Tory's fam. He's from Broward. He's from Toronto, but he's lived in up in Hollywood and in Broward.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And we don't have a lot.
didn't know that.
Listen, our two, you know who's from Broward too? Diplo from Plantation.
Yeah.
And Diplo's huge. So, we pick and not pick and choose, but we don't have that many Broward people. Dade, we have a shitload of people. Broward, it's like Jason Derulo, Tory Lanez, and then Diplo.
Yeah, and Tory Lanez by default.
Yeah. Tory Lanez, but we'll take him.
Yeah, of course.
He's from Broward. He's really from Toronto,
now.
and he lives in Miami. So we take him as one of ours. And but yeah, so I got a ton of stuff.
Can't wait to hear him, man.
Yeah.
January.
Yeah, we're looking
Can't wait,
forward. So
man.
2020, man, we're gonna be looking out for more
And some Pitbull stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Dope.
Don't be sleeping on Pitt. Pitt's got a bunch of shit. He's just like, the dude's like a humanitarian. He has like a bunch of schools he's opened up. He's like a motivational speaker. He's trying to be like Tony Robbins.
Yeah, he's saying, yeah,
He hangs with Tony Robbins.
Mr. Worldwide.
And but you know, he what hasn't he done at this point?
Yeah.
Look, the Super Bowl's coming here, and I remember they got J-Lo and Shakira, and everyone's tripping because they don't have Miami people. So who's the first one that fits to do like some kind of Super Bowl shit? It's
They're
like
probably gonna bring
Pitbull.
Pitbull, of course.
Of course, he's in the works right now.
Yeah, he has things with J-Lo, I believe. I don't know if he has anything with Shakira, but
It's gonna happen.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's gonna be one of those out of nowhere.
Surprise. Yeah.
So yeah, but
You cannot have the Super Bowl and not do Kulo.
you can't do something in Miami and not have Pitbull or Flo. We kept saying Pitbull or Flo because it's kind of like crossover general stuff that the NFL kind of likes, you know. But yeah, the first quarter I'm dropping all that shit.
Dope.
I'm trying to figure out the distribution thing. I'm trying to make money, man. So I don't want to sell it out
Get it.
and get it, you know. But
Get
yeah,
that shit, man.
I'll send it to you guys. But put music out, DJs. That is the only way to make money unless you're gonna do reality TV, which I don't recommend. You know what I'm saying? I feel like everyone wants to do reality blog, like, you know what I'm saying? Like but yeah. That's it. I think I've spoke for like 2 hours. And I got to do radio with my voice like half gone.
Yeah, man. Yo, Mauricio, thank you so much for coming
Thank
through,
you so much.
man.
Yeah,
you know,
man.
And glad we got worked this shit out, man. Let's give a hand to Mauricio.
Oh, thank you for having me, man.
What do you call it?
Hopefully I didn't disappoint.
Not at all, man.
That was great.
Yeah, for sure.
Fuck, yeah.
Nice.
Thank you, bro.
Anyway, you catch this video alongside with all the new videos we drop on Friday on youtube.com/R.O.A.D podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be the first to get the video. And
Wow, that was dope. That was good.
that should be the one.
Damn,
There it is.
One
thank you.
take.
That was
One take, Jake.
Yeah.
Shouts to DJ City.
Yeah, man.
Hey.
And we out, yo.
Peace.
Peace.
Later.
Peace.